Are we back? Hopefully we're back. Hopefully we are back. Technical difficulties. Refresh. You gotta hit the refresh. Hit the refresh. Hit the refresh. Alright, I'm back. Oh, I'm back. And it's telling me I have 13 viewers. What? The viewer count is crazy. What? That's not true. But I mean, I have 13. If that's the case, I have 13 wonderful viewers. Oh no. Beep beep. And then expand selection. I'm working on this right now. Hope you guys are doing good. Thank you for all staying here for as long as you have. I do appreciate it. You guys are all incredible and amazing and stupendous and beautiful. Hope you guys stay that way. Well, it says I'm live, so I'm live. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going like I'm live. If I'm not live, oh well. I guess I just get to get work done all by my lonesome. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all for being amazing. Thank you all for being stupendous. Thank you all also for just hanging out with me. Just incredible people. Just incredible people. And then black t-shirt underneath. Black t-shirt. I think it works, Sky. Ah, good. I didn't know. Raven, I didn't know. I didn't know. Come on, don't be mean to me. Come on. Wipe out. That's why I'm telling you. Aw, thank you, Raven. Okay, earrings are now drying, and apparently so is a hair clip piece that I decided to make. Hey! Arts and crafts. That's our Raven. By the way, I hope Fox is doing well. Haven't heard from him. Hope he's doing good. And then shift. God damn it, why can't I stick to just one thing? Haven't managed to catch up with him yet. It's okay. It's alright. It's okay. We'll learn about him later. He'll tell us about all of his exploits. He'll be John Maddening us with tough acting and acting. Hey, I'm John Madden. Tough acting and acting. You know, John Madden. You guys have John Madden over there? I mean, it's John Madden, so I would assume.
People with ADHD save 10 hours studying with a stone extension. But no, by all means.
I will skip it. In fact, just because you said it, I'll make sure to never fucking look at your product. Now that you even brought it up that I was gonna skip it. There we go. That's good to know. Waiting on that glue to dry. Sounds like you're working on fucking figurines to me. 'Cause that's what I do all the time. Just wait for that glue to dry. Well, I use Podge glue to keep the feathers in place with jewelry. It's the best option I have. and leaves little trace if I do it right. Nice. Nice. But, and then gradient. Nice. 100% dark isn't everyone cup of cocoa. Chocolate bark and green tea. Oh, that sounds lovely. Yeah. Raven's into it though. You got one person on your sideboard. Maybe one day you'll have multiple people. One day. I'll also have to one day figure out. I'll try to fucking figure this shit out. And then make it a little bit darker. And then. Alright. Team Birdie. Oh my Shindaru, the second dude looks super duper well done. The second dude? Which second dude? I don't know what you're talking about. Really, the orange and cyan. You mean this right here? Yeah. I mean, yeah, all of them look good. Don't fuck with me. They all look good. Eat ass. I'm a good artist. You can go to hell. I know that's not what you meant, but I'm gonna think that's what you meant. I know that's what you meant in your heart. They all look good, but I really like the way you did that one. Wow. Compliment One Piece and then suddenly I can go to... Hey now, Florida was just meaning... It was... I know exactly what he meant by that. and I am offended intentionally. I'm intentionally taking offense. I'm fucking with Board. He's an amazing friend. He knows. He knows. He already knows. He already knows he's an amazing friend. Who without him, I would have had a lot more self-doubt. And nowadays,
enjoy no hidden fees, plus limited DVR storage with YouTube TV. Try it free.
so this is Abel Roberts' Also, I had to design this asshole mostly by myself when drawing it for Abel Roberts, because he's like, and I'm like, dude, what do you want? And he's like, I want something. So this is the design for his PNG/VTuber. He just needs someone to actually fucking draw it for him. No one messes with the birdie, asshat. I'll take offense. What color do you want it in? You always damn the ones you love. Hello there, my secret friend. Satan, is that you? Oh, that's why I like it so much, yeah. Yeah. I had to design most of this by myself, with mostly my input. He's like, I want this. I want something like this. And I was like, okay, man, what would you like? And he's like, Nine-Tails Fox. Okay. So this is the banner of the Gather group. Hey, I remember my input. Remember my input? Yeah, I remember your input. This isn't for me. This is for Big Battle. I remember your input. This is for Big Battle's banner. Told you my character was a middle finger and a baby in a high chair holding a pacifier, and you drew a bird. Because I like birds. I don't know. What do you want me to say? I like birds? This is for Big Battle, When I do mine, I'll have it. You'll be very different. You'll be a cute little birdie. But you don't go to Big Battle Barrett's thing all the time whenever he streams. When he streams. I know you would if you did. Ig Adel Erics, yeah. I like turtles. They're going to Stepford Wives me. I'm inevitable. Oh god. I'm gonna have a BRB in a bit. It's okay. That's alright, Raven. The amount of time that you did come in was good enough for me. Thank you for being a good friend. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for being stupendous and making my day a little bit better. Seeing a GIF, Raven. Yeah, and a GIF. And a GIF? Is that what you mean? Oh yeah, I didn't tell you the most annoying part. Clip Studios a fuck. For some odd reason, its files do not state transparencies in GIFs. No, I don't plan on animating anything. This is some Uzi Drummond by contrast to what I usually hear in here. This is Shin Megami Tensei 4. Sometimes I just listen to it because I like it. The music to this game is haunting in such a nice way. Like, it's such a good haunting melody that kind of sticks with you. Color palette, check me out on Instagram. GIMP hasn't been being any better for me lately for some fonts. Color palette's bullshit driving me up the freaking wall. Game sprites take time, and having it jackknife into oblivion is jacking up my workload versus my work effort. Oh yeah, I can understand that. No, I like, for some odd reason, it doesn't save GIF transparent. Like, it gives it a white background, and like I had to go to this weird website to turn this into a GIF. Like it was. I hope that's not what's making the fuck up. I wouldn't be surprised though. Like, when it turned into a GIF from that website, it fucking got way more pixelated. GIMP is straightforward for GIFs. Oh. I mean, I could save all the files to it. Save all the PNG files and compile it. Which would be a pain in the ass, but I could do it. Someone was like, someone online was like, you should use Procreate. That's what I use. And I was like, okay, I don't mind downloading it. I went to the site and they were like, do you want to join the beta? And I'm like, no. No, I don't want to join the beta. No, I don't give a shit enough. Fuck you. You could get on the ground floor, and it's like, you know what? I don't want to be your guinea pig. Unless you were paying me, I would not be your guinea pig. Fuck that. Bam, 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 bam. I don't know. Gonna have to learn. That's totally fine. No, that's fine. Hugs and kisses, high fives and whatnot. You're awesome, Raven. Don't ever think you aren't. Stay safe. Have a great night. Take care. Sleep well if we don't see you before you get going. Yeah? But what you been working on, board? You know what I've been working on. Oh, okay. AFK. Alright. That's fine. You got shit to work on. That's cute. That's cute, baby. Lurk. Dr. Cherry Pep, thank you for the lurk. I do appreciate it. You're very sweet to me and very much appreciated. Let's see if I can find something to listen to. Nandale. Oof. My Wi-Fi is trash. I may have to pop in later. That is fine. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of fucking nothing. My brain is all a fucking... My brain is just fucking done right now. I just need to work on stuff. That's okay. That's alright. It's okay. Thank you for coming in for the amount of time that you have.
Let's get into it, Cummins.
I mean, even though now the horror season,
Right.
firmly planted around Halloween. 100 years ago,
Thank you for being
Christmas
awesome.
Eve was the time people would go for scares. People would gather around the chimney, tell scary stories, either frighten the kids, scare the guests, for dinner parties. Kind of think of 1843's A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens as an example, right, of classic British holiday horror.
Ghost of
Christmas Past.
Present and Future.
Yep, exactly.
It always makes me think of that movie I worked on.
Oh yeah. Yep. In early 20th century England, holiday ghost stories were especially popular, and a number of horror authors made sure to release spooky tales just in time for Christmas.
Okay.
So our first story is one of these tales. Good old-fashioned, gather around the fire, classic literary ghost story.
Cool.
It was written by Londoner A.M. Burrage, originally published in 1931 as part of the collection of short stories Someone in the Room. I will be reciting it as is with no revisions.
Okay.
So please do your best to look past some of the archaic verbiage. None of it, in my opinion, really takes away from the story, though.
Okay.
All right, time now for the tale of Smee. No, said Jackson, with a deprecatory smile. I'm sorry, I don't want to upset your game. I shan't be doing that because you'll have plenty without me. But I'm not playing any games of hide and seek. It was Christmas Eve, and we were a party of 14 with just the proper leavening of youth. We had dined well, it was a season for childish games, and we were all in the mood for playing them. All that is, except Jackson. When somebody suggested hide and seek, there was rapturous and almost unanimous approval. He was the one dissentient voice. It was not like Jackson to spoil sport or refuse to do as others wanted. Somebody asked him if he were feeling seedy. No, he answered. I feel perfectly fit, thanks. But, he added with a smile which softened without retracting the flat refusal, I'm not playing hide and seek. One of us asked him why not. He hesitated for some seconds before replying, I sometimes go and stay at a house where a girl was killed through playing hide and seek in the dark. She didn't know the house very well. There was a servant's staircase with a door to it. When she was pursued, she opened the door and jumped into what she must have thought was one of the bedrooms. And she broke her neck at the bottom of the stairs. We all looked concerned, and Mrs. Femley said, How awful. And you were there when it happened? Jackson shook his head very gravely. No, he said. But I was there when something else happened. Something worse. I shouldn't have thought anything could be worse. This was, said Jackson, and he shuddered visibly, or so it seemed to me. I think he wanted to tell the story and was angling for encouragement. A few requests, which may have seemed to him to lack urgency, he affected to ignore and went off at a tangent. I wonder if any of you have played a game called Smee. It's a great improvement on the ordinary game of hide and seek. The name derives from the ungrammatical colloquialism, it's me. You might care to play if you're going to play a game of that sort. Let me tell you the rules. Every player is presented with a sheet of paper. All the sheets are blank except one, on which is written Smee. Nobody knows who is Smee except Smee himself or herself, as the case may be. The lights are then turned out, and Smee slips from the room and goes off to hide. And after an interval, the other players go off in search, without knowing whom they are actually in search of. One player meeting another challenges with the word Smee, and the other player, if not the one concerned, answers Smee. The real Smee makes no answer when challenged, and the second player remains quietly by him or her. Presently, they will be discovered by a third player, having challenged and received no answer, will link up with the first two. This goes on until all the players have formed a chain, and the last to join it is marked down for a forfeit. It's a good, noisy, romping game, and in the big house it often takes a long time to complete the chain. You might care to try it. And I'll pay my forfeit and smoke one of Tim's excellent cigars here by the fire until you get tired of it. I remarked that it sounded like a good game and asked Jackson if he had played it himself. Yes, he answered. I played it in that house I was telling you about. And she was there? The girl who broke... No, Mrs. Family interrupted. He told us that he wasn't there when it happened. Jackson considered. I don't know if she were there or not. I'm afraid she was. I know that there were 13 of us, and there ought only to have been 12. And I'll swear that I didn't know her name, or I think I should have gone clean off my head when I heard that whisper in the dark. No, you don't catch me playing that game or any other like it anymore. It spoilt my nerve quite a while, and I can't afford to take long holidays. Besides, it saves a lot of trouble and inconvenience to own up at once to being a coward. Tim Vouse, the best of hosts, smiled around at us, and in that smile there was a meaning which is sometimes vulgarly expressed by the slow closing of an eye. There's a story coming, he announced. There's certainly a story of sorts, said Jackson, but whether it's coming or not...
Back again! Back again!
Well, you're going to pay a forfeit instead of playing?
Thank you for coming in, back in, my friend. I'm glad you are back.
It's not just sheer cussedness on my part. Payment in advance, said Tim, ensures honesty and promotes
Hope everybody's doing well.
You are therefore sentenced to tell the story here and now. And here follows Jackson's story. Unrevised by me, the author, A.M. Burge, and passed on without comment to a wider public. Some of you I know have run across the Sangstons. Christopher Sangston and his wife, I mean. They're distant connections of mine, at least Violet Sangston is. About 8 years ago, they bought a house between the North and South Downs on the Surrey and Sussex border. And 5 years ago, they invited me to come and spend Christmas with them. It was a fairly old house, I couldn't say exactly of what period, and it certainly deserved the epithet rambling. It wasn't a particularly big house, but the original architect, whoever he may have been, had not concerned himself with economizing in space. And at first, you could get lost in it quite easily. Well, I went down that Christmas assured by Violet's letter that I knew most of my fellow guests, and that the 2 or 3 who might be strangers to me were all lambs. Unfortunately, I'm one of the world's workers, and I couldn't get away until Christmas Eve, although the other members of the party had assembled on the preceding day. Even though I had to cut it rather fine to be there for dinner on my first night, they were all dressing when I arrived, and I had to go straight to my room and waste no time. I may have even kept dinner waiting for a bit, for I was last down, and it was announced within a minute of my entering the drawing room. There was just time to say hello to everybody I knew, to be briefly introduced to the 2 or 3 I didn't know, and then I had to give my arm to Mrs. Gorman. I mention this as the reason why I didn't catch the name of a tall, dark, handsome girl I hadn't met before. Everything was rather hurried, and I'm always bad at catching people's names. She looked cold and clever and rather forbidding, the sort of girl who gives the impression of knowing all about men, and the more she knows of them, the less she likes them. I felt that I wasn't going to hit it off with this particular I am of Violet's, but she looked interesting all the same, and I wondered who she was. I didn't ask because I was pretty sure of hearing somebody address her by name before very long. Unluckily, though, I was a long way off her at table, and as Mrs. Gorman, who was at the top of her form that night, I should soon forget to worry about who she might be, so he didn't get her name. Mrs. Gorman is one of the most amusing women I know, an outrageous but quite innocent flirt, with a very sprightly wit which isn't always unkind. She can think of half a dozen moves ahead in a conversation just as an expert can in a game of chess. We were soon sparring, or rather I was covering against the ropes, and I quite forgot to ask her in an undertone the name of the cold, proud beauty. The lady on the other side of me was a stranger, or had been until a few minutes since, and I didn't think of seeking information in that quarter. There were around a dozen of us, including the Sangstons themselves, and we were all young or trying to be. The Sangstons themselves were the oldest members of the party, and their son Reggie, in his last year at Marlborough, must have been the youngest. When there was talk of playing games after dinner, it was he who suggested Smee. He told us how to play it just as I've described it to you. His father chipped in as soon as we all understood what was going to be required of us. If there are any games of that sort going on in this house, he said, for goodness sake, be careful on the back stairs on the first floor landing. There's a door to them, and I've often meant to take it down. In the dark, anybody who doesn't know the house very well might think they were walking into a room. A girl actually did break her neck on those stairs about 10 years ago when the Anstey's lived here. I asked how it happened. Oh, said Sangston, there was a party here one Christmas time.
I'm playing twice today. I keep forgetting to do push-ups. Hey, Ball, got a compliment for 40, a reference for 30, and a backsass for 20. Get the I'll get the knock-knock jokes ready for you when you try the sleep next. 20.
And that staircase is as straight and almost as steep as the shaft of a pit. She was dead when they picked her up.
20 it is.
We all promised for our own sakes to be careful. Mrs. Gorman said she was sure nothing could happen to her, since she was insured by 3
You know what? I should
and her
do some
next of kin was a
push-ups in
brother
just a
whose
minute.
constant ill luck was a byword in the family. You see, none of us had known the unfortunate girl, and as the tragedy was 10 years old, there was no need to pull long faces about it. Well, we started the game almost immediately after dinner. The men allowed themselves only 5 minutes before joining the ladies, and then young Reggie Sangston went round and assured himself that the lights were all out over the house except in the servants' quarters and in the drawing room where we were assembled. He then got busy with 12 sheets of paper, which he twisted into pellets and shook up between his hands before passing them around. 11 of them were blank, and Smee was written on the 12th. The person drawing the latter was the one who had to hide. I looked and saw that mine was a blank. A moment later, out went the electric lights, and in the darkness, I heard somebody get up and creep to the door. After a minute or so, someone gave the signal, and we made a rush for the door. I, for one, hadn't the least idea which of the party was Smee. For 5 or 10 minutes, we were all rushing up and down passages and in and out of rooms, challenging one another and answering, Smee? 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 After a bit, the alarms and excursions died down, and I guessed that Smee was found. Eventually, I found a chain of people all sitting still and holding their breath on some narrow stairs leading up to a row of attics. I hastily joined it, having challenged and been answered with silence, and presently 2 more stragglers arrived, each racing the other to avoid being last. Sangston was one of them. Indeed, it was he who was marked down for a forfeit, and after a little while he said in an undertone, I think we are all here now, aren't we? He struck a match, looked up the shaft of the staircase, and began to count. It wasn't hard, although we just about filled the staircase, for we were sitting each a step or 2 above the next, and all our heads were visible. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, he concluded, and then laughed. Dash it all, that's one too many. The match had burnt out, and he struck another and began again to count. He got as far as 12.
There's triangle, which is a bitch and for your triceps. Then there's regular for biceps. For regular, you know when you're doing them right, because you'll be straight AF, only bending with your arms, and it'll suck. Hands should be directly below the shoulders. Side planks aren't too bad, and I love doing jackknives.
From halfway up the stairs came Violet Sangston's voice with a little nervous trill in it. I thought there was somebody sitting 2 steps above me. Have you moved up, Captain Ransom? Ransom said that he hadn't. He also said that he thought there was somebody sitting between Violet and himself.
Weird.
Just for a moment, there was an uncomfortable something in the air. A little cold ripple which touched us all. For that little moment, it seemed to all of us, I think, that something odd and unpleasant had happened and was liable to happen again. Then we laughed at ourselves and at one another and were comfortable once more. There were only 12 of us, and there could only have been 12 of us. There was no argument about it. Still laughing, we trooped back to the drawing room to begin again. This time I was Smee.
Oh my god, why would you play again?
This time I was Smee, and Violet Sangston ran me to earth while I was still looking for a hiding place. That round didn't last long, and we were a chain of 12 within 2 or 3 minutes. Afterwards, there was a short interval. I guess they just all laughed it off and thought they were being silly. Violet wanted a raft fetched for her, and her husband went up to get it from her room. He was no sooner gone than Reggie pulled me by the sleeve. I saw that he was looking pale and sick.
Uh-oh.
Quick, he whispered, while Father's out of the way, take me into the smoke room and give me a brandy or a whiskey or something. You know the sort of dose a fellow ought to have. Outside the room, I asked him what was the matter, but he didn't answer at first, and I thought it better to dose him and question him afterwards. So I made
Dose
him a
him.
pretty dark complexion brandy
You
or
can do
soda,
the
which he drank at a
jackknives.
gulp,
I don't know
and
what
began
they
to
are.
puff as he
I
did
like the Pilates
right.
jackknife in
I had a
particular.
rather turn,
Gotta get
he said to
them
me with a sheepish grin.
toes on the ceiling.
matter?
Them
I don't know.
toes.
You were Smee just now, weren't you? Well, of course I didn't know who Smee was, and while Mother and the others ran into the West Wing and found you, I turned east. There was a deep clothes cupboard in my bedroom. I'd marked it down as a good place to hide when it was my turn, and I had an idea that Smee might be there. I opened the door in the dark, felt round, and touched somebody's hand. Smee, I whispered, and not getting an answer, I thought I had found Smee.
Oh my god.
Well, I didn't know how it was, but an odd, creepy feeling came over me. I can't describe it, but I felt that something was wrong. So I turned on my electric torch, and there was nobody there. Now, I swear I touched a hand, and I was filling up the doorway of the cupboard at that time, so nobody could get out past me. He puffed again. What do you make of it, he asked. You imagined that you touched a hand, I answered, naturally enough. He uttered a short laugh. Of course. I knew you were going to say that, he said. I must have imagined it.
I must have imagined
He
it.
paused and swallowed. I mean, it couldn't have been anything else but imagination, could it? I assured him that it could
Yeah.
not, meaning what I said, and he accepted it.
Hey, Hart.
But rather with the philosophy of one who knows he
Hey,
is right, but doesn't
Hart.
expect to be believed.
You got your
We
avatar
returned together to the
sorted.
drawing room where, by that time, they were all
I don't
waiting for
know.
us and ready to start again.
How
It
did?
may have been my imagination, although I'm sure it wasn't. But it seemed to me that all enthusiasm for the game had suddenly melted
Hey,
like
it's
a
the
white frost in
non-Eldritch
storms of
Heart.
sunlight.
Yeah, we got an
Anybody had
Eldritch
suggested
Heart.
Another game, I'm sure we would have all been grateful and abandoned Smee.
Yeah, man.
Only nobody did. Nobody seemed to like to. I, for one, and I can speak for some of the others too, was oppressed with the feeling that there was something wrong. I couldn't have said what I thought it was. Indeed, I didn't think about it at all, but somehow all the sparkle had gone out of the fun, and hovering over my mind like a shadow was the warning of some sixth sense, which told me that there was an influence in the house which was neither sane nor healthy. Why did I feel like that? Because Sangston had counted 13 of us instead of 12, and his son had thought he had touched somebody in an empty cupboard. No, there was more in it than just that. One would have laughed at such things in the ordinary way, and it was just that feeling of something being wrong which stopped me from laughing. Well, we started again, and when we went in pursuit of the unknown Smee, we were as noisy as ever. But it seemed to me that most of us were acting. Frankly, for no reason other than the one I've given you, we'd stopped enjoying the game. I had an instinct to hunt with the main pack, but after a few minutes, during which no Smee had been found, my instinct to play winning games and be first if possible set me searching on my own account.
Dude, no.
And on the first floor of the West Wing, following the wall, which was actually the shell of the house, I blundered against a pair of human
Head
knees.
along.
I put out my hand and touched a soft, heavy curtain. Then I knew where I was.
Yes.
There were tall, deeply recessed windows with seats along the landing and curtains over the
Hug
recesses
Heart.
to the ground.
Yes.
Somebody was
On the
sitting
contrary, good
in
sir.
the corner
Thank
of
you
this
for
window seat
streaming and
behind
sharing.
the curtain.
Hey.
Aha! I had caught
We
Smee.
love you streaming and sharing.
So I
We
drew
love
the
all
curtain
your
aside,
stuff.
Stepped in and touched the bare arm of a woman. It was a dark night
A
outside.
bear's
Moreover,
arm? Oh,
the window
no.
was not only curtained, but a blind hung down to where the bottom panes joined up with the frame. Between the curtain and the window, it was as dark as the plague of Egypt. I could not have seen my hand held 6 inches before my face, much less the woman sitting in the corner. Smee, I whispered. I had no answer. Smee. When challenged, does not answer. So I sat down beside her, first in the field to await the others.
Oh god.
Then, having settled myself, I leaned over to her and whispered, "Who is it? What's your name?" "Smee." And out of the darkness beside me, the whisper came back. "Brenda Ford." I didn't know the name, but because I didn't know it, I guessed at once who it was. The tall, pale, dark girl was the only person in the house I didn't know by name.
Oh my god.
Ergo, my companion was the tall, pale, dark girl. It seemed rather intriguing to be there with her, shut in between a heavy curtain and a window, and I rather wondered whether she was enjoying the game we were all
Add
playing.
hugs.
Somehow,
Hugs.
seemed to me to be one of the robbing
Yeah.
sort. I muttered one or two commonplace questions to her and had no answer.
It
Smee
was
is a game of
good.
silence. Smee and the person or persons who
Yeah,
are
it
bounced
was
are supposed to keep
really
quiet to
enjoying
make
it,
hard for the
Metroid.
others.
I like what the new Metroid is.
Playing the game a little too much to the letter. I spoke again and got no answer, and then I began to be annoyed.
Feels good.
She was of that cold, superior type, which affects to despise men. She didn't like me, and she was sheltering behind the rules of a game for children to be discourteous. Well, if she didn't like me sitting there with me, I certainly didn't want to be sitting there with her. I half turned from her and began to hope that we should both be discovered without much more delay. Having discovered that I didn't like being there alone with her, it was queer how soon I found myself hating it, and that for a reason very different from the one which had at first whetted my annoyance. The girl I had met for the first time before dinner and had seen diagonally across the table had a sort of cold charm about her, which had attracted while it had half angered me. For the girl who was with me, imprisoned in the opaque darkness between the curtain and the window, I felt no attraction at all. It was so very much the reverse that I should have wondered at myself if, after the first shock of the discovery that she had suddenly become repellent to me, I had no room in my mind for anything besides the consciousness that her close presence was an increasing horror to me. It came upon me just as quickly as I've uttered the words. My flesh suddenly shrank from her as you see a strip of gelatin shrink and wither before the heat of a fire. That feeling of something being wrong had come back to me, but multiplied to an extent which turned foreboding into actual terror.
Oh, dude, get out.
I firmly believe that I should have got up and run if I had not felt at that first moment that she would have divined my intention and compelled me to stay by some means of which I could not bear to think. The memory of having touched her bare arm made me wince and draw my lips. I prayed that somebody else would come along soon.
No one's coming.
My prayer was answered. Light footfalls.
Oh, Switch is a toaster. Yeah. If you use Nightbot, feel free to copy that line of code if you're in your chat.
On my shoulder. Smee? Whispered a voice which I instantly recognized as Mrs. Gorman.
Hugs.
Of course, she received no answer. She came and settled down beside me with a rustle, and I can't describe the sense of relief she brought me. It's Tony, isn't it? She whispered. Yes, I whispered back. You're not Smee, are you? No. She's on my other side. She reached a hand across me, and I heard one of her nails scratch the surface of a woman's gown. Hello, Smee. How are you? Who are you? Oh, it is against the rules to talk. Never mind. Tony, we'll break the rules. Do you know, Tony, this game is beginning to irk me a little. I hope they're not going to run it to death by playing it all evening. I'd like to play some game where we can all be together in the same room with a nice bright fire. Same here, I agreed. Can you suggest something when we go down? There's something rather uncanny in this particular amusement. I can't quite shed the delusion that there's somebody in this game who oughtn't be here at all.
Oh, God.
This was just how I'd been feeling, but I didn't say so. But for my part, the worst of my qualms were now gone. The arrival of Mrs. Gorman had dissipated them. We sat on, talking, wondering from time to time when the rest of the party would arrive. I don't know how long elapsed before we heard a clatter of feet on the landing and young Reggie's voice shouting, Hello? Hello there? Anybody there? Yes, I answered. Mrs. Gorman with you? Yes. Well, you're a nice pair. You're both forfeited. We've been waiting for you for hours.
What?
Why, you haven't found Smee yet, I objected. You haven't, you mean? I happen to have been Smee myself. But Smee's here with us, I cried. Yes, agreed Mrs. Gorman. The curtain was stripped aside, and in a moment we were blinking into the eye of Reggie's electric torch. I looked at Mrs. Gorman and then on my other side. Between me and the wall, there was an empty space on the window seat. I stood up at once and wished I hadn't, for I found myself sick and dizzy. There was somebody there, I maintained, because I touched her. So did I, said Mrs. Gorman in a voice which had lost its steadiness.
Oh, no.
And I don't see how she could have got up and gone without our knowing. Reggie uttered a clear, shaken laugh. He, too, had an unpleasant experience that evening. Somebody's been playing the goat, he remarked. Coming down? We were not very popular when we arrived in the drawing room. Reggie rather tactlessly gave it out, what we had found sitting on the window seat beside the curtain. I taxed the tall, dark girl with having pretended to be Smee, and afterwards slipping away. She denied it. After which we settled down and played other games. Smee was done with the evening, and I was glad to be done with it. Some long while later, during an interval, Sangston told me if I wanted a drink to go into the smoke room and help myself. I went, and he presently followed me. I could see that he was rather peeved with me, and the reason came out during the following minute. It seemed that in his opinion, if I must sit out and flirt with Mrs. Gorman, in circumstances which would have been considered highly compromising in his young days, I didn't need to do it during a round of game and keep everybody else waiting for us.
Oh my God, that's not what happened.
There was somebody else there, I protested. Somebody pretending to be Smee. I believe it was that tall, dark girl, Miss Ford, although she denied it. She even whispered her name to me. Sangston stared at me and nearly dropped his glass. Miss who? He said. Brenda Ford. She told me what her name was. Sangston put down his glass and laid a hand on his shoulder. Look here, old man, he said, I don't mind a joke, but don't let it go too far. We don't want all the women in the house getting hysterical. Brenda Ford, he said, is the name of the girl who broke her neck on the stairs playing hide and seek 10 years ago.
No.
Damn.
I mean, I kind of assumed.
Sure,
but like,
sure.
Oh.
He
That's
touched
a good
Brenda
spooky story, I think.
Ford.
You know, it's funny in like the kind of reviews. I mean, it's
Sure
totally
you can. Whoa,
Yeah.
It's one
Nightbot,
of those
please
stories
see
where it's like all the information
consent
is given to you at
first.
the beginning,
That ain't a
and you know
request.
what's coming, but it's still spooky.
So spooky.
Yeah,
So
still gives me,
spooky.
still
You
gives
know
me
what?
goosebumps
It's
here.
so
I really,
spooky.
but I just love that is the kind of story that people.
Thank you,
100,
Hart, for
150
the
years ago,
compliment. I do
especially in
appreciate
England,
it.
I just
Yeah.
love these
Thank you for
Victorian
coming in and-
houses. They would just have a dinner
And
dinner
being
party,
awesome.
have people
I
come over for
appreciate
Christmas
it.
Eve, and part
Do you
of the
believe
evening,
in
they would have their
consent?
brandy and their drink,
You have a
Yeah.
bad
with
feeling
somebody
about this
telling the
place.
story exactly like that and just trying to
Oh
scare them.
no!
When I was a kid, we would we were super broke. We couldn't go on
Okay.
like real vacations. I mean,
No!
we couldn't afford to like get on a plane and go somewhere,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And my mom worked for a dentist, and he owned a house
A
in Nantucket. And
mentist.
so we would like pile into the car and drive for 13 hours up there. Right?
Guys.
There's nothing glamorous
A
about it. But
mentis.
as you were telling this story, I was thinking of this house because it was like this huge house, or I don't even know if it was huge, but it felt so
Sure,
big to me
felt
as a
huge.
child. Yeah. And it was on the water, and it had those old crystal doorknobs, and there
Oh
were
yeah, I
like,
can picture that.
and there was like the main staircase, and there was also like a little like back staircase, and there was this like,
Spooky.
yeah, but it wasn't spooky to me as a kid. Like
I
the
didn't
house just
give
had
you-
good energy. But
give
like, the
out
whole time
any
that
consent.
we were doing
Hey,
this story, I
I
was
understand.
like, oh, because it's an old New England house, like it had all the
Yeah.
right things, and I was like,
I forgot to
oh
put on my
God,
medicine
that
on my
shit
hands. I
really,
gotta
like,
do that
somebody really
before I
could
go
have
to
gotten
bed.
hurt in this house because there was like
Yeah.
a pantry cellar thing that was like old.
Right.
And,
I think about well, you Grandma Betty and Grandpa Ward's cellar.
Yeah, that was the other thing
that
too.
staircase, like so steep, where it's like if you rushed in there, oh, you could for sure break your neck.
I don't even know why. I don't think your grandparents should be going down there
They should
anymore.
not. It upsets everybody else in the family.
Right.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, that story was quite creepy, and I actually had, I think, the least amount of interjections because it was so hard to follow. I think with like the old timey.
Yes. And sorry for any like if I stuttered a little bit reading here and there, but the verbiage did every once in a while. I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
Yeah, it's not it's not a modern sentence structure.
Sure.
So it was a little challenging.
I
but-
was pretty focused. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, I've got to really hear what he's saying.
And just a couple pictures we have from that if you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
see them.
You
Yeah.
misread my
The face
message.
to the name. That's A.M. Burridge.
Okay, that's the author.
Yeah, he became known. For
I
those
didn't give
stories
you
in like the 30s.
any
and then really
compliments.
He
Oh.
died in the 50s.
Okay.
1956 actually. Born in
Oh, you need to
1889,
remind her
but didn't really,
about your
kind of
medicine
faded
for
upon
your
me after a few
hands.
kind of collections of those
I
stories.
Did you just
guess.
see me whack my face on the microphone?
No, I missed that. Did you bop yourself?
Yeah. Idiots.
And then this next one is a little illustration that goes along with the story on a few different websites.
Okay, that's
So
cool.
Yeah, that's kind of how they would accompany these stories in books, back at that time. Obviously,
Yeah,
not,
you-
really
you-
very
that
many
was a
photos in the
compliment,
books, just
right?
putting These kind of illustrations. And this next one is an older
You
photo. This is
gave
like
me a
Victorian
compliment
area.
on
I'm
my
nervous. I'm nervous for
my
you to, like,
my
blow it
avatar.
over me.
Now this is just the
Yeah, my
when people-
avatar
the
is set
spiritualism was
up.
a big
Yeah.
movement, and they would have.
You can see like that ghost lady.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this is like the equivalent of
Still misread
They
it.
didn't have crazy horror movies or anything, but they have spooky pictures.
But here's
like that
one.
and collections
You're
of ghost
cute
stories.
and such a
Right,
lovely
right.
And
human
that's
to
not
be
even-
around.
Victorian area is out. Yeah, that's it. Obviously before it ended in 1901. A little older, but
I'm just realizing in the dark it's quite hard to
Fine.
see my little.
I guess I'm misreading
Yeah.
everybody's
Where's your
messages.
it's,
I
my whole
guess
Christmas
I'm a
hat-
I think
big
it's
dumb.
there. I think you should lean into the light a little bit. So you can see
Okay.
how stupid we look.
Here's my little Christmas hats.
So if you see anything sparkly. Okay, so like, I was a little bit confused about how the game works. So I think I understand it now after really listening to it. So you'd have 12 people.
Or however many.
Right. Seemed
Yeah.
like 12 was
Yeah,
in the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so 11 blank pieces of paper,
Right.
one with SME on it.
Yep.
And then everyone would get their piece of paper, read it, and then the lights would be turned out. The final light would be turned out.
Yeah, then
and
the lights
one person would leave the room.
And then they
Yeah.
would wait a few minutes.
One person would leave the room, and then it was like in the very hide and go seek, like they would go hide,
Yeah.
and then everybody else, the remaining 11, would seek out that other person, and then if you found the person, I'd be like SME, and they don't say anything back, then I would just sit there and wait for the other people to come.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And then
what was with the chain of people? I didn't quite.
just like sitting next to each other, like a row.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just supposed to be. They're supposed to be all sitting next to each other, like very close. And then
Okay.
and then when you come and you find the chain, you know, the group of people sitting, you know, in a row.
Yeah.
They're all supposed to be quiet.
Ninja
You
bird,
ask, like, you know,
crunchy
Smee,
bird.
Like, the whole row then is quiet.
Oh, okay, that's what
Yeah.
confused me because it was like, okay, so
So
once
Smee
once
kind of
once
spreads. He didn't really explain
Look,
that. But I read it a few
okay,
times,
let me
yeah.
read your
so
message
once
again.
you
Hold
find
up.
the Smee, now you're quiet along
Yep.
with the Smee.
You're sitting there
Got it.
in quiet. Yeah.
You
Okay, that was a
misread
little
it.
bit
Oh,
confusing to
you
me,
need
but
a
I'm glad you cleared
reminder
that up.
about medicine for
Also,
your
like,
hands.
So when
Yeah.
Flirty McGee, whatever her name was.
Oh yeah.
Too many names.
The flirty. Yeah, Mrs. Gorman.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I could be Mrs. Gorman.
Okay. Friendly flirt. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But okay, when Mrs. Gorman found the dude,
Yep.
whatever his name was, I'm sorry, the name, it was too many names. I could not keep up. But when she finds him and they're in that little like
Jackson.
yeah, when they're in the window seat, and then at the end when the host says like, "Oh, we found you," he said they'd been there for
I'd
hours.
rather not have my
Right.
bird
That
crunchy
really, like,
unless
that
it's
really
fried,
detail
even then
really got me
crispy.
because neither one of them
Crispy
in this story
bird.
is complaining like, "Oh, we were there for a really long time," or "We were waiting and waiting."
Time got weird.
Time got weird because think about it. If you're playing hide and go seek, after like 15, 20 minutes, you're like, I'm trying not to swear if we're gonna have kids listening. So
Yeah, we're not. I mean, who knows? Just say whatever you want.
I don't know. But
They can
you're like,
handle it.
but you're like, screw this. Like, I'm out of here, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
clearly something
Something went
weird
on.
happened with time.
No, sometimes.
Hours.
Creepy.
Did that one get you when you were prepping the story?
A little bit. I mean, I will say, you know, that's the first one we've done on this show that it was written as fiction. So it's a spooky story. I didn't want to say that up front to, like, you know,
Oh.
but it's like, you know, it's like the tradition, like Dickens, you know, like variety of stories. But even knowing that, your imagination gets going.
Yeah.
And the thought of that happening, you know, combined with all the stories we've talked about here, yeah, it still spooked me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
this next, another ghost story.
Is it also very long?
No, it's not as long.
Okay.
And it's set in the Christmassy time.
Okay.
And this one is reported to be true.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah. But I wanted to find a couple Christmassy backdrops
Yeah, no,
for
I
us.
like that.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, I gotta head out.
All right, so you
Lecture.
I
See you
am
around.
ready.
Love you,
Time now
heart.
for
Be
today's second
sweet.
tale.
Stay
The
amazing.
walls are singing.
Don't worry about
John
it,
saw
Goat.
Lisa
It
pointed
wasn't
out
my
when he and his wife
question.
were sitting
I
in the
got your
living room.
answer.
They
You
were
read
watching
my
the
thing
Christmas
wrong.
special on
Later,
TV, and
heart.
Lisa was busy
You
entertaining
hadn't
herself
misread
with a
anything I
Rubik's Cube.
posted, Goat.
Snowflakes
Well,
were falling
today,
outside as promised by the weather
forget
forecaster.
about it.
It was a
No.
great day to stay indoors.
I
where
won't
it was a
forget
nice
about
day.
it.
Lisa suddenly said, "Dad, the walls are singing." John's attention briefly shifted towards her, but he was still focused on the TV.
I
What
won't
was that
forget
again, honey?
about it.
The walls are singing. They are, he asked, grabbing the remote on the table. John lowered the volume and strained his ears to listen, and sure enough, he could hear the faintest tune of a song he could not recognize emanating from within the wall directly next to Lisa. The abrupt sounds resembled someone softly playing handbells, each ring a gentle jingle that passed through the wall.
I
John
will
stood up
worry
and
about
asked his
it.
daughter to
I
back
worry
away from
about
the wall,
everybody
worried
that
about
comes
what was
in
making
here.
the sound. He alerted his wife, Sherry,
I
who
worry so
immediately
much.
came into the room from the kitchen.
I worry
He
about
pointed towards the wall and
everybody.
asked her to listen.
I
He
care
was just as
about
confused as they were.
everybody.
Weird.
Hold on to Lisa, John told Sherry as he ran to grab a toolbox from the garage. He came back clutching a hammer, the knuckles on his fingers turning white and brimming with sweat. The strange music coming from inside the wall was bothering him. What could be making those sounds? As he got closer to the wall, the music got louder and the melody of the ringing changed. John crept up against the wall and held one of his ears to the smooth surface.
Like that, you
His
read
skin made
my
contact with
thing
the cold
wrong
paint, and his ear
when it
suddenly
said
felt a
right.
wave of warmth
That
come
was
over it
perfect.
once he
However,
was directly
now
on
I'm
top of the
trolling
music.
by deliberately
Creepy.
leaving out the
He could feel the
proper
vibration of bells
grammatics
coming
in
from
my
behind the
last
wall.
sentence.
Oh my god, no way.
Not knowing what was making the noise was driving John crazy. How could bells be playing inside the wall? He
How
backed
could
up
you
a
do
bit
this
and
to
swung
me?
his hammer into the sheetrock
I thought
hard
we
enough
were
to punch
friends.
several holes into the wall that he was able to turn into
I
one
thought
bigger
you
hole
were my
when he
best
pulled
friend.
out several white chalky chunks of drywall.
I thought
The
you
melody
were
had now
my
stopped.
closest
Using
friend.
his cell phone as a flashlight, John peered inside the wall, finding only insulation, some wiring, and 2x4 bracing.
Oh god.
While confused, he also felt relieved. He wasn't sure what he thought might be making that noise, but he knew he actually didn't want to see it. To be thorough, he made a few more holes, took out some insulation,
Of course he did.
eventually called it quits after about 2 hours. No one was hearing any more music, and neither he nor his wife, Sherry, wanted to have to pay to have an entire wall patched up. That night, the music started up again. The sound of bells once more coming from within the wall. Only now it wasn't just the one wall, It was all the walls. They all heard it. John, his wife Sherry, his daughter Lisa. The bells rang from within the walls every night for several nights in a row. Each night, they'd come from a different location in the house and then just move around.
Oh my God.
They always started ringing really loudly, really clearly at midnight. John and Sherry had no idea what to do to get rid of the noise. Neither were religious, and it seemed like a bit much to talk to a priest about the ringing. No one's
You
head
always
was spinning
mock
around.
the ones
no
you
one
love.
was speaking in a deep, raspy voice about the devil or anything. No one felt
Human
threatened. It was just
noises!
odd, maddening, not to be able to
okay.
understand what was causing the noise.
Alright.
John and Sherry were reluctant.
Human noises. Well, humans making noises is a very weird thing that is not uncommon within the animal kingdom, but goddamn, is it strange and confusing in these parts. You know, evolution making it so, you know, we have to make these noises to be able to communicate. In a lot of ways, that we've found ways to communicate with each other way faster than speaking a lot. Stuff like that. So, me too, Nightbot. Hi, I like shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear. I mean, we can talk about human noises. Humans make quite a range of noises, and in fact, a lot of some scientists believe that we're mimicking. That it was a horrible form of mimicry that became its own thing. So, I mean, that's what a few scientists believe. So, I mean, that's up to you if you wish to believe something like that. Dad has an original shapes joke. I wonder how long it'll take to surface. Have you heard about the recent kidnapping? The kid woke up. Let's go. My God, that's a good one. I'll give Dad that one. Good job, Dad. Making everyone feel uncomfortable. I don't know, if I heard that at a Christmas party, I would groan but laugh. I would groan but laugh.
Reluctant to ask their neighbors if they also heard anything. They were new to the neighborhood and didn't want to quickly become known as the neighborhood crazies.
Totally.
John did have the gas company come out and make sure they weren't all hallucinating thanks to some slow gas leak.
Oh yeah, okay.
Nothing. Everything was normal, and of course when the technician came by, the walls were quiet.
Of course.
Then after a few days, the family got used to the noises. And
How do you get used to that?
also, after a while, they seemed to kind of enjoy them.
Oh dear.
They weren't sure any longer that they wanted to get rid of the noise. The songs were serene, like slow lullabies. None of the melodies seemed familiar, but they were comforting somehow, as if they were old, familiar nursery rhyme type songs.
Nope.
After about 2 weeks of this, John started to fall into almost a trance of sorts when he heard the music. Vividly picturing lifelike memories that were suddenly floating into his mind unconsciously, except they weren't his memories.
Oh my God.
One time, he briefly saw himself standing in what appeared to be a small, well-lit shop. The vivid aroma of cinnamon hit him
Lovely
first
goat,
before the sweet smells of hard candy and steaming hot chocolate.
I'm doing it. Waves
He saw a
at you and
pointy green Christmas
smiles.
tree in a corner of the
Good
shop,
job, my man.
decorated with multi-tinted ornaments,
Good job, my
branded with
man.
candy canes, and a colored star topper that sent
Dad,
wisps
tell
of
us
light
another
dancing
one.
across the ceiling. Toys of all shapes and sizes lined the walls along the shelves.
I don't trust theirs.
Above the
They're
toys
always up to
were a row of
something.
bells.
That's the oldest one
Each
that
one
I
of them looked
remember.
unique, with distinct patterns etched into them. They all rung in unison, playing the same familiar songs.
Yeah, that
was.
was.
Oh shit.
John was suddenly experiencing visions like this so often that they became ingrained in his mind, almost as if they were his own memories.
But they're not.
His wife and daughter were also getting more entranced by the bells. He'd hear Lisa humming the tunes off and on throughout the day. or while she lied in bed at night.
Get out of this house.
The noise of the bells had become a routine part of their lives.
Oh my God.
They weren't afraid of them. They weren't concerned by them. They were still, of course, curious about the song's origins. And then after about another week, they finally understood the true source of the noise. Late at night, asleep in his bed, John woke up to the sound of a sharp thud in the middle of the night. The thud was soon followed by the distinct sound of footsteps and someone or something shuffling around downstairs.
Oh God.
At first, John assumed it was his wife, Sherry, since it wasn't uncommon for her to wake up and head downstairs in the night to go grab a glass of water.
Love cinnamon, hot chocolate, and all that. Where is the ghost that gives me that? I'd love to share it. Old ghost memories. I lack those ghost memories.
Had reached somewhere near the bottom of the stairwell. That's when John quietly crept out of bed and headed towards his door. He had to find his daughter. He knew Lisa wasn't the one making the noise because she always came to his and his wife's room if she needed to go downstairs. Something else was in his house, and it was about to head upstairs toward T and his wife's room and towards their daughter's room. John gently woke up his wife as he heard squeaks echo from outside his door. It was coming up the stairs.
Oh God, oh God, oh God.
He told Sherry to dial 911 as he frantically looked around the room for something to use as a weapon. Nothing. John's hands started to shake. He grabbed a metal ruler lying on his desk. Not much, but it was the best thing he could find in a hurry. And he mentally prepared himself to rush out into the hallway, and well, that was about as far as his plan went.
Dumb plan. So dumb.
Just a split second before he burst into the hallway, as his hand grabbed the doorknob, the bells started ringing.
Oh God.
But it wasn't the faint jingles he and his family had been hearing. It was very different this time. The noise didn't come from one area. It came from all over the house, and it was louder, much louder than ever. John dropped to his knees and covered his ears. Not only could he hear the bells, he could feel them. The whole house was shaking, like it would with an earthquake. Still worried about who or what was in the house, John got up and opened the door, hating to take his hand off of his ear. It felt like his eardrums would burst. When he stepped out into the hallway, he watched the door to his daughter's room open, and then Lisa burst out into the hallway, hysterically upset.
Oh my God.
The noise began to subside then as John hugged Lisa and pushed her towards his daughter, or towards his wife. He still needed to check the house for an intruder. John's ears still ringing as the deafening noise of the bells continued to subside. John walked out into the hallway holding his metal ruler.
I also like ghost memories.
Slowly, he descended the stairwell and stood on the landing. Peering into the living room, he noticed that the door was cracked open to his house.
Oh God.
Several household items had been turned over in a frenzy.
What?
Thankfully, John saw no one that night. Police officers arrived a few minutes later, and John and Sherry told them what they'd heard, except for the bells. After a thorough investigation was conducted, the officers stationed patrols in the neighborhood and told John and Sherry to board up their back door. It had been busted open in a break-in.
Oh.
Boarded up as best they could. John and his family never heard the bells again. 2 weeks after the break-in, the police arrested the intruder.
Oh.
The man who police believe had broken into their home had committed a homicide where 2 innocent victims were violently murdered during an attempted apartment robbery just a few nights later in the same neighborhood.
Holy crap.
John and Sherry wondered how the night of their break-in would have played out if it wasn't for the bells clearly scaring this person off. A few days later, Lisa asked her father why the
Kazoo,
walls were no
dang,
longer
you
saying the
coloring
same
me,
thing.
I
Miss them,
see.
Daddy. John told her he didn't know, and as much as he tried to deny it,
Oh no,
he missed
wooden
them too.
ruler? He
A few
gonna
days
teach
later,
you?
There was a knock at the front door, and when John answered it,
What?
he was greeted by the sight of
Wow.
a young, unfamiliar man standing on the porch holding a stack of cards in his hand. Hello, I'm David.
Oh my God, I have chills everywhere.
Hello, I'm David, he said as he handed John one of the cards. This is an invitation to our annual gathering for Mr. Anderson's memorial. It will take place at the end of the week. All the info is on the card.
Oh my God.
John studied the card. There was a photo of an older gentleman printed on the front side. He wore circular glasses, a soft smile, and a neatly trimmed gray beard. He had no idea who Mr. Anderson was. David pointed his finger at the picture. That's Mr. Anderson, best person I've ever met in my entire life. Practically everyone in this town knows him. Growing up, I used to go to his little shop every day with all the other kids. He loved children. His shop had everything you could dream of. Toys, candy, decorations for each holiday. If there was something you liked, he could make it for you. Mr. Anderson could do anything. The man made us believe in ourselves. Where's his shop at? John asked. And David's answer gave John the chills. His shop used to be right here, where your house is right now. I'm pretty sure the Builders Association took up the property and reallocated it for residential homes.
Oh my God.
I just wish I could visit it one more time just to hear the bells.
Oh my God.
What bells? John asked. Mr. Anderson's bells. He had them lined up all around his shop. He played all these cool tunes, melodies I only heard in his store. I think he made them up.
How young
part of the
you
shop.
reckon I am?
A shiver went down John's spine. His mouth hung open. He couldn't believe it. What happened to Mr. Anderson? He asked. David paused. Old age got the better of him. His heart gave out
My
while he was asleep. It happened many
how
years ago
are you?
now, but
How
we
are
still
you?
think
Oh,
about
my
it.
child.
Especially after what happened during the week he passed
Good,
away.
how are you? Bruh.
What happened?
What happened,
Get
John
it.
asked. Some of the townspeople claimed they could hear bells
Child,
ringing
how
the night of
young you
Mr.
think
Anderson's funeral.
you reckon
No one
I
could
am?
pinpoint the source.
Good
It seemed to be
cuz you
echoing
be
all
chillin'.
around the block. And
Birdie
the bells
damn.
were playing Mr. Anderson's favorite tunes, the same beautiful melodies we used to hear in his little toy shop. And then David hummed one of those tunes, and it was the exact same melody that John had heard many times coming from within the walls of his home, coming from Mr. Anderson's old toy shop.
Holy cow.
The end.
Eek.
He saved him.
He saved them, but also that was scary.
And it was.
I can't believe that there was an actual robber. I wasn't expecting that twist.
I know, that's what I liked about like that story. It kind of mirrored the first story a little bit with a little like twist, not as obvious. And
I
another
had
just
so
Christmas
many
one.
chills. So many chills.
Yeah, it had some spooky parts for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Now, okay, earlier in the show you asked about something. There is no pictures that go along with that story. That was like an online forum, there's somebody saying this happened. So, there's, I can't find any pictures of anything that
Okay.
relates to that story.
Okay.
So I decided to show this. You asked about Krampus.
Oh, okay.
I feel like, I didn't have a Krampus story, because it's not really, it's like folklore.
Sure.
I mean, we could have, I guess, but
But it
just,
would have been a big stretch, I feel like.
yeah, and so just for Krampus fans, I mean Krampus, in Central European folklore, Krampus is a horned half goat, half demon who punishes kids. This is so crazy to me. This was a story parents would tell their kids. 100 years ago, in places like Austria, people were telling their kids about this half demon, half goat, who was like kind of like the Robin to Saint Nicholas's Batman. They would work as a team. St. Nicholas would bring the kids presents if they were good, and if they were bad, Krampus would fuck them up.
So,
Yeah, Krampus. Let's get this next picture. There's another Krampus picture. I'm just going to give you a little more details before Krampus questions.
okay.
He would often carry chains or birch branches or a
How
whip.
big is your floppy
And he would use that
disk?
to beat the
Man
kids.
said he
Oh my
will
God.
whoop your
This is crazy.
asses.
He has that sack on his back.
But I'm good because I'll
sometimes
be
he'd carry
lurking
baskets.
in
The
your
other folks over
streams like
chain
I
anytime
was
they want.
watching
And kids were naughty.
April. I
He would
remember
throw them into a
Zork.
sack,
Fresh
and he would either throw
out
the
of the
sack in
box.
a lake or river and drown them.
We're off
or
to
he
find
would
an
eat
answer,
them,
and a wonderful
or he
answer
would take them
indeed.
straight to hell.
I am
Awesome.
the
Those
further
are
of this
three
cult,
really
man. Of
great-
course,
Really
you
great
are
options,
all
yeah.
my
And then-
child.
And then there's another picture of Krampus.
Check
This
me
next
out
picture
on
shows his
Instagram.
long tongue.
Check me
His
out
long
on
tongue, he gets the chains
Instagram.
there, it's a
Well,
kid he has by
then
the
we give
ears.
birth to a
Yep,
very
he would,
large
eat the
man
kids. I
child.
think in
Rip
that
your
picture,
body.
yeah, he often had like one hoof,
You,
one foot,
you'll
kind of
bet I'm a
distinctive
hug
Krampus
real
feature there.
Kazoo like
oh,
he
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
He was my
And
father.
This last one
Krampus
is
picture. Oh.
Krampus here. This is a card that people would like send around the holidays.
It's hard
With this
to be a
demon
podcast
just fucking
when
up
you
the
have
kids.
visual
So weird,
visual
But they would like that was a holiday thing.
moments
We're leading up to
in
holidays.
them.
Krampus would actually come around the 5th is when he could come to start getting you.
Oh, sure. St. Nicholas Day is the 6th of
Right.
December.
So the 5th and the 6th were like Saint Nick and Krampus.
Okay.
And yeah, so people would tell their kids like throughout the year, like, be good, or Krampus is going to drown you in a river or take you to hell.
You will die.
Ugh.
I mean, it's kind of genius, though, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is. I guess to keep kids behaved. And after all that, I want to end the holidays a little nice picture of Santa. So we have just a Santa Claus there. The regular old, not creepy at all Santa.
Oh, my God. Where in the world is that picture from?
I do not know.
That is so
But I
uncomfortable.
would not let one of the kids sit on that Santa's lap.
Dude, that is
So creepy. So creepy.
It almost
You're
looks like a
watching-
porcelain doll.
Yes.
I don't like it. Last year, Kyler got really into, our son Kyler got
Yeah.
really into like weird Christmas things. I'll have to post it on my social media, like a link to this like YouTube song video. We would listen to it in the car.
Yeah.
It has the weirdest like tradition-y things, like this weird creature, kind of like Krampus, will come and eat
Yeah.
you. This one comes and specifically like takes your eggs, or like I don't know. There were just all these super weird things. I wish I would have listened to it right before this episode. Kyler just resent it to me because him and I laughed so hard about like what a weird series of creatures and like what they were into. I want to say like one ate nothing but cotton. I can't remember all the details. So bizarre.
Oh, is it based on reality, like a bunch of old Christmas folklore?
Folklore, yeah.
Yeah. Every day there's other countries that have their versions of Krampus or other monsters that would just jack you up around the holidays.
Do you want to hold on to a crystal?
Nope.
Do you guys want to know something really fun that happened in our house this weekend?
Oh, God.
I went to the crystal store and I bought like $100 worth of crystals, and Dan's not having it. Like, he's so not having it, we might have gotten in a little tiff last night. Because
I know you were joking about the crystals.
Because I love to poke you.
I know, but then sometimes I don't know when you're serious or joking, and I thought you were trying to push your crystal stuff on me.
You just got sent to the Shadow Realm shit, son.
And then eventually I did kind of snap, and I'm like, I'm not fucking getting the crystals. I'm not wearing the crystal necklaces. I'm not doing the crystal stuff. I'm gonna make fun of you for your weird crystal shit. And I snapped a little bit.
There was a lot of threats of like, fine, you can be the crystal lady and I'll be the tattoo guy. I'm gonna get fucking tattoos on my neck. Because that's like a thing that I don't want him to do. And yeah, I got a lot of crystals, and they all come with these little information cards, and I was reading the cards to Dan, and as soon as I got to one that like mentioned like other realms and like balancing your spirit, that's
magical abilities. And then you were teasing me.
Yeah, I said one had magic abilities, and then Dan asked if I could do any fancy card tricks. That was his version of magic. Like, as if these crystals were going to give you the power to do a card trick.
I know, I was joking with the card trick, but some people do take it so far. And you were making fun of me because how could you be open to the possibility of ghosts, demons, that kind of stuff, but not be open to the power of crystals?
Right, to me, it's all in the same world of
Nope.
things.
To me, like, saying that you're open to, like, one otherworldly thing, in my mind, it doesn't make me open to everything. Like, I have my own limits. And here's the thing about the crystals, because it's the way they market them. It's like a piece of amethyst or something. It'll say, you were reading them last night. It'll talk about like
amethyst?
This helps you travel through realms and helps improve your magical abilities. And so that's when I was saying that you needed to get like another crystal.
That was labradorite.
That could slow you down so you don't like hurt yourself traveling so fast through your realms. and then when you talk about magical abilities, I'm like, yeah, show me some card tricks or levitate or some shit.
Yeah.
I just like that they market it that way, where it's like, hey, get this crystal and it'll improve your get the fuck out of here.
I think because you have never had. I think we've talked about this. Well, you did have some weird, like, spirits, ghosts.
You are
over
encumbered, so say of the wise.
A tiny bit, but I made up in a Halloween mask in my mind.
Alozone.
Yes, in the Rainbow Room, I had that.
Alonzo.
I haven't like seen an entity. I haven't had like an over-the-top, like, what?
Right. Most
like
people
send me running out of the house kind of thing.
Right. I don't really know anybody. I mean, we get these stories, but I don't know anybody who has seen something, like an actual
apparition.
That's the perfect word. Yes. I know people who have felt things, who like maybe saw something out of the corner of their eye.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was being born and raised Roman Catholic, that it really like feels very possible to me, which is why like this show is often difficult for me, because I'm like, fudge.
And I'm open to it. I'm open. This show is, all these stories are making me like less skeptical.
Right.
I'm open to it, but I am such a skeptical person. I'm not willing to open up the floodgates and wear like a crystal spirit crown or whatever.
I mean, like
your pendulum.
This is an amulet to keep me safe, and this is
cool
sage to keep me safe.
Okay.
I think that we're having like opposite reactions to this show. I'm now like, well, okay. So when I was at the crystal shop, I was very careful about the crystals that I picked. Like, I read the little cards, and I didn't want anything that increased your psychic abilities or that was like about tapping into that. Because to me, I was like, okay, no, all I want is things that'll keep me grounded, keep me like light and positive. I'm in therapy dealing with some stuff, so I was like, okay, I want things to like let go of past things. And at the end of the day, even if we never really go super far down that path, I do think that sometimes these things are a medium to help you cope with other things.
Okay.
That's basically how I feel about religion as well. And that's not to like be offensive to anybody who's a hardcore believer. I believe that everyone has the right to believe what they want, right? You are entitled to your own opinions, thoughts, beliefs. But oftentimes I think that religion is the thing that you gravitate to help you get through something, right? Most people turn towards religion during a really difficult time, whether it be like death or divorce or, you know, like your finances, whatever. But it's like you turn to religion as a coping mechanism to help you, right? So what's the difference if I started going to church or if I just start like holding onto some crystals, if it helps me cope and keeps me sane?
Oh yeah, I tease you. I don't care if you do that stuff. Last night I kind of snapped. I'm just not going to do it with you. That's all.
But
I would have the same reaction if somebody pushed really hard with religion, like you just brought up. If someone's like, come on, just go with me, just come on, just go. At a point, I'm like, dude, not my thing. Back off.
But I am going to have crystals in every room in our house.
Okay, not on my side of the bedroom.
But everywhere else, like on the mantle. But did you know some of these crystals can be so expensive? There were crystals I was looking at, they're like $300.
Wow. Well, if you, I don't want a crystal, but if you could have like a demon power wizard scepter, if one of those pops up for sale, I do want that.
You're such an asshole.
I want it. I want to have demon power.
Whatever, get out of here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you have your squishy?
I have my squishy. I don't have a demon power scepter.
Hey, how come that candle's out? I lit it.
I see it. It's barely lit.
Okay, I didn't want the Virgin of Guadalupe to not be with us.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so in light of it being Hanukkah, I thought it was a great time to use this story from one of our listeners in Austria.
Okay.
So thanks for tuning in, friend from Austria.
So saith the Elsa, or Alando. Alando. A deer, a female deer, a deer, a female deer, IRRC, I'm probably not. Where am I? Too lit in here. I wish I could. I had that. He sounds so exhausted. Do you have a squishy? Major TV record. Jiggly. Jiggly.
Whose wife was always forcing him to do highbrow cultural
Jiggly.
Bless him. Is that funny? Yeah, I love the opening to this. Anyways, her bedroom has always been super cold. Much colder than any room in the place, even though it has the exact same heating system throughout. The animals also never went into her bedroom unless she went in first. When she bought the place, the property owner told her that during the Nazi occupation, an elderly Jewish couple had been kept hidden in the empty attic space known as an U-boot, as we call people who were kept safe by friends, neighbors, and local
Exhausted, enthused.
Now, if you've ever read the diary of Anne Frank, it's easy to imagine the constant fear that they must
I'm
have
excited!
Up in there
It might be. Maybe a Freudian
Sadly,
slip.
they died in 1944 in the 1944 bombing, along with all the other residents. My best friend is from the Scottish Highlands
Freudian
originally and has always been witchy. So she claimed the cold spot was caused by the hidden couple whose spirits were literally paralyzed by fear. She saved regularly,
sucks so
but
much.
seemed to help, and she knew better than to try with so don't worry about that. One night last year, I was pet sitting again and woke up around 3 a.m. absolutely freezing. Goosebumps, head to toe, even though I was covered in a duvet and by all the dogs and cats in the bed.
Like how you're sitting on the ship.
Like my friend is, but I figured something was up. The animals were
I'm here. I'm here in the picture. I'm right here. Just right there. I can't sit right. I can't sit where I want. I sit where I want, bored.
Like centimeters away. And it wasn't just the temperature either. The air felt like there was pressure. It felt like the moment before a huge thunderstorm. So I decided to help the ghost as best I could and said very loudly, "It is safe to come out now. You are free.
It's safe.
The war is over. The Allies came. The Nazis were beaten.
Swift.
And all prisoners have been
Audi 9000. Yo, Adrian.
We have Jewish schools.
You want to go out sometime?
Kosher shops in Vienna, and
careful where you park your buns.
You can go anywhere you like.
I know.
Or you can stay. Whatever you want.
Wherever you want.
And then in English, and then in really bad grammar school French, just in case they thought it was the Gestapo in some sort of trap or something. And then I fell back to sleep immediately, which was super weird because it always takes me ages to fall asleep, no matter how tired I am. And that night I had basically backed out. I had blacked out without any weed or alcohol. Ever since that night, my friend says that the temperature doesn't fluctuate anymore, and the animals now spend time in the bedroom even without a human in there. So I guess it worked? I hope so. I almost prefer the thought of a Nazi soul trapped for eternity than souls of their victims who deserve to be free. Though I hope I never meet a Nazi ghost, to be honest. I also hope this story isn't disrespectful to the people of the Jewish faith, because I don't know anything about their belief in the afterlife. I'm an agnostic, so always interested, but still ignorant, and please excuse. Okay.
That's a great, man,
it was heavy, but like also like really
that's crazy.
Plausible? Feels very plausible.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that makes me less skeptical. Where it's so weird, like, cold space, something, and then a night like that, and then it just goes away for everybody. That's super weird. how sad.
It's just out of, it looks like it's out of fucking focus.
Like it's stuck because they just are confused.
That's what really pisses me off. Is that it looks out of focus.
But then it seems like they're free. Right? So,
like we're having some matzo ball go soup.
I do love matzo ball soup. Oh, I saw on Instagram yesterday.
Oh,
my
the
best friend
talking
who's
animation
Jewish,
sits
was
up a
making matzo ball
little.
soup, and I
Just
was like,
noticed.
Damn it. Damn you,
Yeah,
Quarter
it has a little bounce to it.
It's
not too terrible.
When are we getting a Jewish deli up in Coeur
Oh
d'Alene?
my god, that would make me happier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wish you didn't.
Make it happen.
Is it the website
yeah, there was
that
something
I'm
else I was going to say
using?
about the story, and now I cannot remember. But yeah, oh, I know what I was going to say. We just, like, on a random side note, we just saw this movie not that long ago called Jojo Rabbit.
So good.
So good, and definitely, like, around, you know, the time of the Nazis, but such a good movie. Kind of funny and light in some moments, which feels impossible to do around the topic.
Yeah.
Very poignant in some moments.
It's
And
a
I
great
think,
movie.
yeah, and I think if you have kids that are like around the 11, 12, and older range, they will not only get it, but they will be able to relate to it. And yeah, it was a really great movie. Are you ready for the story?
I am. This is the one that really freaked you out, right?
This is the one that kept me up last night. I was up from like 3 until about 5. I just could not. I couldn't shake it.
Okay.
And it is one of those stories to me that is like, it is not going to hit you when I'm reading it to you, but later I think it's really going to nail you.
Okay.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of the Sally House, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Several episodes ago, just about a family in a house with a maybe like a childlike spirit getting someone to stay.
Yeah.
And I always think that kids are more susceptible to spirits. I just want to say that, like, as a overarching thought on this before we dive into it. I just think that kids are less jaded and more open.
And ghosts are scarier because kids are demony.
Yeah, kids are shitheads.
Anybody who has kids knows that they're a little demon-ish.
Totally.
No one.
Are you
History.
ready? Okay, you're speaking?
History.
Okay. Hey, Lindsay and Dan. My name is Jake,
let me see.
and I thought this story might fit in well at Scared to Death. Sorry for the length or any grammatical errors. I hope it creeps you out, even if you don't read it. But here we are, Jake. I've left out my wife
Let's
and
go
kids'
down
names
my
for
history.
privacy.
Let's go down.
Earlier this year, my family and I moved to Michigan from Colorado.
Let's go down my history, see if I can find it.
Close to our families, while also allowing me to be home more often. I'm going to try and tell this in chronological order as the events happened. Hopefully, I won't have to skip around too much and I won't make it too confusing. Now, this all started in Colorado Springs. My wife and I lived in a house with our 2 daughters since the spring of 2016. In July 2018, we found out that we would be adding a 3rd kid into the mix. We'd been trying for some time and we were ecstatic to be expanding our family. Cue us digging into old boxes and busting out all of our hand-me-downs. Everything was going well with the pregnancy, and by the fall of 2018, we were into the 2nd trimester. My wife was very healthy, and the baby seemed to be coming along great.
Yeah, it's
but
working.
As with all scary stories, things took a turn for the worst. I will never forget this day. On the morning, 2 days before Thanksgiving, I woke up to the sound of my wife crying hysterically. In my haze, I reached across our bed to calm her and felt nothing but empty space. Soon, I realized her cries were coming from the bathroom, and all that was in the place next to me in the sheets
What
was
the
saturated
fuck
blood.
does all this fucking mean?
In the bathroom, she was trying to manage the situation, and I could tell it wasn't going well. We quickly rushed to the hospital and fearing the worst. And like most scary stories, the worst had happened. So close to the holidays,
Small
and at
avatar,
what should be
no.
the happiest time of the year, it seemed like the worst of times was in store for us. After the doctors determined that my wife was healthy and that the miscarriage had been properly taken care of, she was released to come home. Now, I don't like the phrase "taken care of" to describe what happened, but
Is
I
it
don't know
because
what
of
else to
the
call it when your unborn
Discord
child is
stream kit
unceremoniously
overlay?
disposed of. Tragic, maybe, but I digress. Remarkably, my wife seemed resilient and didn't want to let this spoil the holiday. The solemnness she exhibited the day before all
Let's go back to
disappeared in her
OBS.
attempt to be
I don't know
strong
what
for
it
us,
is.
even though
What
she
it
was
could
most
be.
heavily affected by far. She cooked Thanksgiving
I don't know.
despite my request that
Is
she
it a
take it
GIF
easy
or an
and a busy event.
SWF?
She refused to
So
slow down, saying
it
that the best way to get over this is to do what I would
Clip
normally
Studio
do and
cannot
work
make
through it on my own.
GIFs
And I decided
without
not to.
a black background or
My
a
wife
white
grieved in her
background.
own way and worked
So
herself from denial
it's
to acceptance
a
with relative ease. We rounded out
a PNG, animated PNG, turned into a GIF from a website.
And now that 2019 was here, it was time for shit to get real weird. On January 3rd, we had an issue with the plumbing at our house. I got a call from my wife when I was on the road saying that our water levels had dropped.
I'm gonna try one thing tomorrow,
but apparently
and then we'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna be mad. I'm just gonna be annoyed at best. I'll just be like, well, I guess I got it pixelated. It's fine. It's fair. People know what it looks like. That's fine. I'll live with what I got.
And said he would send a camera in to take a look.
What do you think, Board? What do you think it could be? Because I'm using StreamKit.
This type of procedure is very common and rectified quickly, but what came out of
could it be something that's going on there?
We don't flush anything but toilet paper down our toilet. Not wipes. Not
Can you try sending me your source files and tell me
so when
what you want for speed?
Up from the first pass, I knew it wasn't from us.
The source files
the previous
on the Clip Studio?
Right. Then on the second pass, what came up made me
I guess I can.
Internally. It was
I don't know how to do that, but no, Delana, we'll do it later. I will do it later. It's fine. Let's see. Source file. I mean, I could do it now. It's fine. It's not like it's...
But that toy didn't exist until 2018.
Let's see. Let's bring it up. Alright, source files. And then export.
But the feeling passed, and I didn't
multiple pages. A PDF?
Fast forward a few months. In March, we sold the house, packed up, moved to Michigan.
I think I can try exporting a GIF in GIMP. That's a worthy shotty. Exported a PDF. Batch export.
Cameras for our girls'
export set. No.
I thought it was a great idea. Now we could keep an eye on them from anywhere.
I mean, I can export it as a
wherever work would take me.
Yeah.
I made a habit of checking
as an animated sticker.
When I was away,
the APNG.
I found out what was happening. One morning, I opened the app to see my 4-year-old
export animation cells.
My 2-year-old sister was playing with her
PDF can work. Okay.
And it's at this point I hear my 4-year-old talking. Right. Not unusual, especially with the 2-year-old kind of talk back to her. But her words don't seem directed to her sister. She turns around and talks to someone who isn't there. An imaginary friend? It isn't uncommon, and she is about that age. His behavior continues the same way until June 2019. I check in frequently around that time to see how she acts when no one's watching, and whether her sister is in the room or not, she talks to someone.
No, don't save it in documents because I literally will not be able to find it. I won't find it.
Her talking to brother when I'm
all pages. Output image as a text. No.
Daddy, I'm talking to brother.
As a draft.
She only has a sister and no brother. She says in a very
all pages export voice, range. Expression color.
I got really quiet and left her to play for a while and talked this over with my wife. I'm a skeptic about a lot of things, but even I know this is how a horror flick starts. My wife says she hasn't heard our daughter say any of that, but she has noticed a pattern on the camera at night. What? Every night, a small pinprick of light can be seen just at the bottom of the camera's line of sight.
Export
it looks like a large particle that floats
a zip file.
In the sunlight, and then it
downloads or desktop, or it's lost to history. Okay.
And then in a flash,
cancel. Fine.
It only lasts about 15 seconds and always occurs at exactly 11:20 p.m. And if you're keeping track, 11:20 is also the date of our miscarriage.
Close.
Not long after, you hear other voices on the monitor.
Okay.
I'm not sure if our daughter is making play voices or something else. She faces away from the camera, so it's difficult to tell, but we never heard it in front of her or in person ourselves. All of this was creepy, but we didn't feel particularly haunted.
It's either downloads or
anyway, so we let it go, but kept an eye on it.
Downloads. Fine.
All of the weird behavior ended abruptly in September,
folder.
The day we brought the new baby girl home. No more brother, no lights, no voices, nothing. We figured now that there was an actual new baby to focus on that our 4-year-old had abandoned her imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Everything went back to normal, and we all got acclimated to being a 5-person family. Just last week, we decided
And
to
a
visit
zip
an apple
file,
orchard as our first big day out of the family since the
compression,
new baby got here.
zip,
We were
right?
walking out the front door to load into the car when our 4-year-old stopped at the threshold, stared into the middle distance, and then said, "Daddy,
Move
can Brother come?"
subject.
I said,
Oh my God, so much chills.
I said no.
Close.
Locked eyes with my wife, who was just as concerned as I was. My 4-year-old then turned around and said, "Daddy said wait here. We'll be back later."
Oh my God, that is
They gotta get.
so creepy.
They gotta GTFO.
Subject, author.
They have to move. Jake.
Why? No, it's gonna follow him.
Well, then they need to get their daughter exercised, blessed. I mean, something.
Oh my God, so many thoughts.
So, okay, Cher, tell me, what do
A
you think?
single page? I don't
Well, one
fucking
is, like,
know. I
how
guess.
sad.
I know. It was really heavy, and I couldn't leave that part of the story out because it turns into the whole
Go.
thing, but it was
Animate.
awful.
But how sad if it's like the ghost of a dead baby, like a miscarriage.
I don't
baby.
fucking know.
Right.
But then also my brain goes to a much darker place, and it's like the sad, like somehow
Alright.
some demony thing.
I guess I
is
can
pretending
export
to be
PDF format.
the baby, like the brother and his friends with the kids now.
I'm
It's
sorry,
like,
I don't
terrifying.
know
Just
any of this
exploiting
garbage.
This tragic event or this grief to like
Okay.
glom itself onto this family.
Alright. Let's
Yeah,
go
that
here.
happened to
Let's
me.
go here.
Yeah, if that was happening, that's when I would,
Okay.
as skeptical as I am, I'd be looking for a priest.
Right.
Like, come on in here, and like, is there any kind of
Animate it.
ritual? Like, what do you think is happening? I'd be up for trying out for that. Okay, that happens.
Crystals?
I got fucking crystals in my hands. I've let go of my demon scepter. I only have my crystal goblets and trinkets on. But,
Yeah.
oh my God, terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, because Jake doesn't tell us in the story the sex of the deceased baby. So
Jackknife.
clearly, I mean, I
Okay,
think you're
that's
right.
what a jackknife
Right, they
is.
might not have known,
Alright.
they might have chosen not to know, or you know, but I'm with you where I'm like, what is this thing attached to my kid?
Oh my
What
God.
is it?
My gut, and I have no idea why it says it's not the baby.
I don't think so. And okay, so and we've talked about this.
If this
before,
comes
I've
up
never-
nothing,
that
I
is a
don't
really
fucking
creepy
know.
one. It's creeping me out more than I expected. It just won't let go.
I know. You're telling me. So
Upload.
I was thinking about it too. We've talked about this before, and I've
I
never
don't
done the
fucking know.
research, so I apologize in the ignorance. But we've talked about intelligent and unintelligent spirits, right?
Yes.
And so,
yes.
if I have
Right.
this correct, an intelligent
If this is
spirit
if this is
attaches to
garbled
a
up garbage,
person,
I
whereas
still have the
unintelligent
original
spirit attaches
not
to a
affected.
thing.
I
So
believe that is correct. I would have to research that again after the show.
It's
but I believe
fine.
That's correct.
So it would seem as though
It's fine, we
his
can keep
spirit
trying.
is attached to his 4-year-old daughter,
Correct.
or their family as a whole.
But
maybe
mostly the daughter.
mostly the daughter.
Well,
Now we don't
see
know
if
the
Gimp can do
2-year-old
the
is
thing.
seeing
Alright.
or hearing or feeling anything, and now there's also a baby, and that's what made me think of Sally House. Because if I'm remembering that correctly, because you know I
My God, it's so
Big ol'
creepy.
rabbit.
I try to block
Snuggly
these things
bear.
out after we do that,
Snuggle
because otherwise
bear.
I would already
Snuggle
be in
bear,
some
little
asylum for lack of
rabbit.
sleep. But in Sally House, isn't it?
Alright. Let's see.
would, like, put
What did I
the
do?
spirit would put like the stuffed
What
animal
about
in the
what
middle
am I
of the
in the middle
room,
of?
and like was like
That's
very
right.
interactive with the baby and was trying to
Shit.
theoretically
Yes,
trying
I
to pull
believe-
the dad out
Yes, I
and
believe
attach
so.
to the mom.
It had angry energy towards the father, but wanted the mother to be its mother. Yeah, that's all
So my
sounds
brain
correct.
all goes there. And so Jake, I think you got to do some investigation here. Now the spirit that Jake is talking about doesn't
blank.
seem
Malevolent or anything yet,
yet.
right?
So
Yet.
I'm gonna say crystals and sage and holy water. And then if that doesn't work, Jake, I think you have. I know you're a skeptic, but for the sake of your child, I think you have to get a priest.
Yeah, some spiritualists in there. I know I have very skeptical leans on that kind of stuff, but in that situation, I'm like, I gotta try something.
I don't
wait,
know
'cause
what
it is
color
Which,
he
like Jake was
wants,
saying,
so
is
I'm
how
gonna
every
go
horror
with
movie goes.
fucking
Totally,
green.
totally.
I'm gonna
And I
go
think
with
it's
a
different too when
light
it's like you as an
green.
adult versus
'Cause
something
I don't know
attaching
what
to your child.
fucking
You have a
color he
very different
wants.
feeling
Yeah.
about how you want to cope with that. Eek.
Eek. So happy holidays.
Happy holidays, friends.
That was this episode ended up being much scarier than I was expecting. I thought it
Yeah.
would be a little bit lighter. That's what I love about the My Stories.
I know. There
That
are
looks
so
so fucking
many.
horrendous.
I have an inbox full of stories.
I love it.
A little
and
bit better.
it is
So much horror.
Let's
so
darken
much
it
more,
up.
so
Let's
much
darken it up a
terrifying
lot.
things like, and it's so hard because I have to read them.
Hey,
and
everybody!
I'm like, okay, and then I kind of skip
Right.
around.
Hey,
So, I mean, I
everybody,
know that
what's
there are
going
stories in the
on?
inbox going all
Hope
the way back to
everybody's doing
September,
all
so
right.
just
Hope
know that,
everybody is doing
we're just doing a
a-okay.
few at a
Thank you so
time,
much,
and
Willow,
I
for the
appreciate them, and I value them,
raid. That was
and
very
hopefully
much
we'll get
appreciated.
to
Thank you
all
so
of them,
much.
most of them.
We're just trying to figure
Yeah, I
out
just couldn't pick it random.
tech
I'll look at,
issues,
like, the
trying to
subject
see
line.
what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the
thanks so
raid.
much for
You're
sending those in.
amazing,
And
Willow
sending those
Eve.
into
How was
my
your
story
stream?
at scaredtodeathpodcast.com.
Oh, thank you,
Added so
Willow.
much to the show. It's even showing up in the
Oh,
reviews
that
and
was
stuff.
very
iTunes,
sweet
other
of you.
places
You
where
know
people
you
are
didn't
referencing,
have
like, the
to.
My stories as being like as scary,
Let's
if not
see.
scarier than the ones I tell, which I love.
Yes.
I love.
It is
The
really
more
Thank
fear,
you
the
so
better.
much.
Really cool.
That's the whole point of this.
You did art
So,
before
yeah, so I hope you
this?
enjoyed our holiday edition of this. And actually, we were
You
going to
stream the artwork. Well,
Yeah, we have a little
my
little
goodness.
holiday guest, Penny
Thank
and
you
Gigi.
so
Thank you
much.
for the end of this one.
Ginger.
And the next one is
Hello,
the
hello.
New Year's episode. New Year's
Oh,
Eve.
thank you.
Ginger,
Thank you
come
so
over here.
much.
Come here.
I do
Come here,
appreciate
come
it.
Come on up for our YouTube.
Yes, welcome Raiders. Thank you so much, guys, for checking me out just for a second.
You can send in your stories to my stories.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your Inktober. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we try to enjoy each other's time.
At Scared to Death.
Oh, thank you, Floofy Snow. Do appreciate it.
If you want to see these little dingles,
It's not looking good. I mean, here's the original animation.
Sorry, we have problems.
Joe Paisley,
And as you can clearly tell,
working on the Bad Magic Productions team as well. Sorry,
is way more in
Really
focus.
trying to keep Gigi off the mic. I think she's licking it now.
I don't know
And
what I
thanks
did
to Joe
wrong.
Paisley, Zach Cohen, Jeffrey Montoya for the
If I did
sound
anything
effects,
wrong.
and to Heather Rylander
So,
for taking over the
yeah.
My Story at Scared to Death
These things happen.
Emails to Lindsay the
I'm
Rest,
just trying
all
to
of them.
figure it out.
And
My
enjoy your
thought
nightmares,
is that
Papers.
when
Merry
I
Christmas,
made it
Happy
into
Hanukkah.
a
Yes,
GIF,
yes, all of that. Hope
it,
you are scared to death.
We'll see you next week on a
well,
New
the
Year's Eve
resolution went to
episode of Scared to
shit.
Death.
Last one of the decade. Bye.
And the resolution on this thing is not great, so, you know. Meh.
Banish their souls into nothingness and remove their powers until the last trace. Let these evil beings free. Through time.
You forgot the mics
We're
are
just
on.
listening to a scary, spooky podcast, by the way.
That was just in my own
That's
head.
what you're hearing in the
I don't know,
background.
there's a weird feeling in my throat.
Thanks for listening,
Yeah.
for watching us on YouTube.
I haven't
And
seen
Happy New
another
Year.
like it. It's awesome.
Well,
Oh,
it's
thank
New
you,
Year's
Willow Eve. I appreciate
Well,
it.
like the last minute.
I see you like D&D.
so
Hell
amazing.
yes, I love
Right,
D&D.
so really,
I got
anyone
nuked
if
as
even if you're
a
listening to this when
F
you
gif.
when it
Oof,
first drops,
yeah.
You're going into
Still looks
the new
really
year.
good though.
Happy-
Oh, thank
Happy
you.
Welcome to the new decade.
That's right. New
Yes.
decade. Can we do 10 more years of scares? Hope so.
Yes, we love
I
D&D.
think so.
We
Make
love all of
it.
Probably
it,
not. At
all
some
of
point I have a meltdown.
again
most
for the
of
continued ratings
anything
and
fantasy
reviews.
and stuff like that.
You know,
We're
I check
very
in there,
we're
see
very
the,
fantasy
you know,
focused here.
Check in with the overall tone of
Oh.
what's coming in. It's as far as people liking it, not liking it. People like it.
This-
Good,
So that's
good.
good. More
And
people
we
like it than
also-
don't like it
I'm
by
working
far.
on this
Good
banner
stuff.
for
We
my
appreciate
friend.
that, and we appreciate you spreading the word.
He's a good friend of
And we have
mine.
a,
I was working
good
on
cover show
Big
soon.
Battle Barracks
I think a little
banner.
scarier than last week.
He's
You know,
a great
week, you know, was more
he's a
like the
great
holiday
guy.
kind of
He
theme,
just
kind of
hasn't been
more-
doing
more
very well
traditional
lately,
scares
so I
games.
thought I'd make him
Okay.
something
So
nice.
our first story comes from a subreddit where someone posted a tale of what seems to be a series of encounters with the very angry spirit of a reclusive woman
So,
who is
yeah.
not ready to
I
let
think
go
it
of
was
her earthly home.
I think it was
Alrighty
compressed.
then.
We're
Not a
just
fun
trying
house to
to
move
see
into. No thanks.
how
Second
everything
tale, the
looks.
Amherst
See
mystery,
if there's
where we
anything
head
I
back
can
to the
do
late
to fix
1800s
it.
to look at one of Canada's
But if I have to
strangest and allegedly
re-export it
most
and
witnessed
fix it
paranormal
again,
events.
I'm not going to be
Oh,
bothered.
Canada.
It'll just
this
be
is,
30 minutes
interesting story for
wasted.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I know
It'll
you
be
have
fun.
what? How many stories today for
I
us?
have two.
You have a pair of my
Two
stories.
little stories from our
Okay.
awesome fans who send in the
Yes.
best stories. And it's just so
But I hope you
terrifying.
guys are doing good. How was the Inktober?
I
If
would
you want to
say
show
last
any of
week.
your works, you
Okay,
can.
so
I am
see.
definitely down to see
You have
it.
your fuzzy socks and your,
I
your
do.
blanket ready to go.
I am wearing some zebras.
I'm the kind of
They're in
person
the
that
US.
loves to look at other people's stuff.
UK zebras that somebody sent me. They're so cute. And yeah, ready to get cozy. I'm super
If you
grateful
got
for the
something to
blanket
show me,
because I've
I'd
got the
love to see it.
post-Christmas bloat because I've eaten everything in sight.
I
And
want
I'm
to
just
be a
gonna
part of
hide behind my
people's
blanket.
Everybody had a good
art.
Christmas, good,
I
you know,
love
Hanukkah,
seeing
or whatever you
what people
celebrate.
can
Yeah,
do,
all
what
the
people
things,
can
all the
come
things.
up with.
Yeah, food, friends, family,
You know,
whatever.
their
Happy everything.
imagination.
Happy everything.
Correct. Okay.
I try to be as
Feeling very
encouraging
anxious.
as
Dan gave
possible.
me caffeine, and that's not helping.
Oh boy.
I try. I'm not perfect.
Time now
I
for
try
the
to
tale
be.
of the house that still belongs to Miss Fromm.
Mm-hmm.
When he was young, elementary school age, James lived in what seemed to be a normal house in the American Southwest. Not your typical haunted house. The house wasn't that old.
And
no
if anybody's
shadowy
got
attic,
any art they want
no
to show,
cold
I'm
stone,
definitely
dirt-floor
down to
cellar
see
lit
it.
only by a single
I
hanging
love
light
seeing
bulb.
people's artwork. I
Wasn't
love
tucked away
seeing
near a
people
cemetery. Wasn't beside
show
a
me their
grisly double
stuff.
homicide. When you pulled up to
I'm
it, it was
always
welcoming. A nice
here
sidewalk
to
out in front,
see what
just
everybody's
walking down
got.
a busy street of popular shops and restaurants. For the most part, a young man named James, just a kid when our story
As
takes
you can
place,
clearly
loved
tell,
this
I'm having
nondescript
so much
two-story
fun.
plus an attic
I'm trying to
basic,
color this
big
gosh
box of a
darn
home
ship.
built in the 1970s. At least James loved it during the day.
I'm streaming it
before the
every
sun went
day.
down.
Today's the first day
At
I
night,
wasn't
James
able to
recalls the house
finish it.
coming
That's
alive.
fine.
And no one will ever convince
These
him that it
things
is haunted
happen.
by its former owner, or that at least it was when he lived there as a kid. The former and original owner of the home was
Spent
a single
5
woman
hours
named
all and I'm
Miss
tired.
Fromm.
Hey,
Trudy, a woman who
so I'm
lived next
finishing
door,
it
gave
tomorrow
James's
because I
parents
really
some bits of
like how it's going.
information about Miss Fromm.
Hey, that's
Okay.
a-okay.
Trudy
There's
said Miss Fromm
no
was a reclusive gym
hard
teacher
rules
who had
on
taught in a local grade
Inktober
school
except
before
the
she
one
retired
rule,
and then died.
which is
And
enjoy
she said
yourself.
She wasn't well liked
And
by
also,
basically anyone. She had a reputation
you cannot
for being
use
pretty
the
brutal to
hashtag
pupils back when you'd still smack kids in school with a ruler across their knuckles.
Inktober
That
because
was
somebody
your job.
owns it.
Ugh.
And she was apparently very particular about her house. Getting
Like
into disputes with
legitimately
Trudy and other
owns
neighbors
the
about things
Inktober
like fence height,
hashtag.
tree branches encroaching
Not a
on
joke.
the property,
Unless that
noise
changed.
violations of anyone's volume, rose
from
above
the
level of
time that
basic
I remember.
conversational, etc. She was not a good neighbor.
She sounds nuts.
But
Trudy
I'm
didn't recall ever seeing a single
fairly-
guest ever visit Miss Fromm in the many years they lived next door to each
I
other.
don't think
Yeah,
he
who's
would
gonna
have
visit
gotten rid of that
Exactly.
that
Trudy
copyright.
thought Miss Fromm was so fanatical about
Unless
her house, her grass always
unless the
perfectly
United
mowed,
States
her
have
garden always,
changed
free
their
from weeds,
tune,
everything
or
just
wherever
so,
he
probably
did
because
that
the house was
copyright
all she
changes their
had.
tune on copyright
And then when
laws.
Miss Fromm died suddenly of a heart attack, she was dead for over a week before anyone even knew she was gone.
Oh.
A realtor bought her home at an auction and modernized it before selling it to James's parents.
True,
The
true.
realtor had
Yeah.
changed up everything. He turned the attic into two separate bedrooms
Yeah.
and a closet space that divided them between a mini hall.
I just
tore up the flower beds
I
Miss
just
Fromm had planted
remember
and repainted the home's
that was a big
exterior, and made
controversy
numerous other
a few years
renovations.
back,
And a
but
few weeks
hey, it
after
might have fixed
completing this
itself.
construction, his only daughter died in a freak accident where she was literally struck by lightning.
What?
Obviously, her death
You
could
never
be a
know.
coincidence, but Trudy told James's parents that she and some of the other neighbors half joked that Miss Fromm had somehow killed
But
the realtor's daughter from beyond the grave.
I'm not gonna
for
spoil
messing
anybody's
with her
fun.
precious house.
No.
There's still
This is what they,
good parts of that.
When James lived there, he slept in one of the attic bedrooms. His sister slept in the other. His parents slept in a second floor
And I
bedroom.
want people
and his
to
brother
enjoy
slept in the fourth and
themselves,
final bedroom, also on
especially
the
during
second
the
floor.
holidays.
And in his attic bedroom, at night, James writes that he used to hear Miss Fromm. Some nights, even as a kid, he could rationalize some of the old creaks and groans. as if
Especially one of
normal
my more
noises,
favorite
letting you know.
holidays
But then
during
there was the sound of
October.
breathing that would come from under his bed.
And my favorite holiday
That wasn't the sound
that
of a
I've never
house.
really got to
There was also the
experience.
sound
I
of
get to
someone
see it,
walking up to his room. His door
secondhand.
rattled
Dia
as if
de
a strong gust of
Muertos.
wind had just hit it. And then
Love
there would be a
that
sudden
holiday.
drop in temperature that would go away just before James heard the door rattle again. And then he would hear the sound of footsteps heading down the stairs, as if someone had just walked up the stairs, walked through his door, walked around his room, and then left.
Get the fuck out.
James also had terrible nightmares that went away as soon as he and his family left the home. He recalls dreaming of evil puppets living behind the sofa,
Oh.
of a cloaked figure living
Yeah,
in the
it,
hedge.
it was a
masked
big
man who
thing
would
just
hand
a few
James
years
slip of paper in the
ago
night
where
with some
someone
kind of warning
hashtag
on it.
like
On several
copyrighted
occasions, James's
the
sister woke up
entire
feeling
Inktober
something
name
grabbing her ankle,
and stuff like that,
something trying to
and
pull her
published a
out of her bed.
book
At first she told
which
herself that it
was
all
made up
just a
of
dream,
other
the kind
people's
where it feels like you're
drawings
awake,
And because he owned the copyright to Inktober, he could do it. And they couldn't sue him at the time.
Once while sleeping,
As
James's
far
brother
as I
claimed he
remember.
watched his sheets be pulled off of him by something he could not see. Even James's mother, a true skeptic who refused to believe her kids' initial claims of something bothering them in the night, ended up seeing something resembling a hand curled
I
around
must have
her
missed
bedroom
it.
door.
I
and
started
opened
4 years ago.
once.
Well,
All sorts of strange events occurred
I
in
don't
the
know.
house.
I'm
A
just
friend
telling
of
you what I
James's sister said
remember.
that once, during a
But
sleepover,
I
she
stopped
woke up to
that
find
right
James's
when he
sister
did that. I
sitting up in her
immediately was
bed,
like, well,
totally asleep. But
I don't want to do
talking
this
into the
anymore.
darkest corner of the room.
And, you know,
She heard her
October
whisper,
prompts and stuff like that. I just
promise.
do what I
Oh my
want.
God.
Draw what I want.
One time when
You
James
know,
took some pictures
and now
in the
since
kitchen
I
with
have a
his mom's
Twitch and
phone,
I
one of the
stream
photos seemed to
almost
reveal
every
some sort of
day,
shadowy female
I
figure
am
tucked behind the door.
drawing way more
So
than I
many
used
things
to.
happened in that house.
You know?
Shortly
So
before James and his family moved out,
there's
he began to
less of
suffer
a
from some
need
sort of
for a
sleep
prompt.
paralysis where he would
But
wake
if
up
somebody
unable to
prompts,
move or
that's
make a sound,
totally
and he would
fine.
see out of the
And
corner of
also,
his
I get
eye
these
a shadow, female
these
shape
20-minute
standing near his door.
sketches
He'd
as
feel it
well.
watching him before
If people
disappearing
stay
into
long
the
enough,
door
they
and
can
leaving.
get a 20-minute
James
sketch.
said that as
So I've
time
been
went
doing
on,
that.
the poltergeist
That's been
activity only
fun.
increased.
Let's see.
Things started
Let's
to go missing.
see. Yeah.
His toys, his sister's toys, clothes,
Yeah.
money.
I've
all
been doing
sorts of
these
stuff
20-minute
began to
sketches.
disappear, and they never found
Been
any of it.
having loads
Eventually,
of
when James
fun.
was 12, his parents decided they'd had enough, and that it was
And
time
having
to move.
loads of
And James
fun
made the
just
mistake
making
of saying
those.
out loud
And
one night
those-
when he felt the
those have been
presence of something in his
enjoyable.
room that he couldn't wait to leave, and that
I
he
just
hated
recently
this
started playing
And
D&D
that he
for
hoped
the
her
first
stupid
time, and
house
I've been
would burn to
a
the ground.
blast. I started out as a sorceress
And then, in
for
an
my
act of
first time
12-year-old
playing.
defiance
Oh,
and
that's so
bravery, he took a baseball
awesome!
bat he had and
Hey,
smashed it
Yame,
into the trim around
remember
his
your
window,
sorcery
putting a big
points.
dent in one of the
Remember
boards
that's
dislodging
a
it from the
completely
wall
different
of it.
pool,
He
but
cursed
it's
between
fun.
clenched teeth. Do you like that, Miss Fromm?
It
Leave me
sounds
alone or
that
smash
sounds
the whole
terrible.
stupid house.
Yeah, I
Things
also
you
kind of
regret
lived under a rock 4 years ago, so
I regret it for him.
so it
The next
imported
day,
with a
Oscar,
jagged
the
white
family
trim
cat,
and a
went
black blocky area around it. Trying
No
to
one
clean it
loved
up,
Oscar
but
more than
it's
James, and he became
just
hysterical.
one so I definitely
3 days
didn't
later,
export the
on
whole
the
thing.
last day of moving, the cat
Oh.
was still nowhere to be found.
Oh, that's great.
The family
No,
put
that's
flyers up around the
super
neighborhood and looked
amazing. I
everywhere.
love
Nothing.
that. That's
Then after
awesome.
taking the last bits of furniture out to a moving truck,
Do I
James's
need to
dad walked out of
export
the house
every
and shared
single?
some
That's a
terrible
lot
news
of fucking
with the
shit.
family.
You see that fucking
Just
animation?
found Oscar.
That goddamn
The
thing.
cat was dead. He'd been trapped inside the
It's
washing
fine.
machine, and it appeared
We'll
that he
fix it.
drowned.
We will
And
fix
James is
it.
convinced that somehow
It will take
Miss
time.
Fromm killed him.
It's
How does
fine.
this fucking cat get in a washing machine?
Oh,
His
that's
mother never
smart.
left
I
the machine
might
door open,
have to
and
borrow
they've
that.
never seen
Redeem.
Oscar try to go
Yes.
inside the washing machine
I've been
before,
doing monthly
and they
giveaways.
just
Oh,
used
that's
the washing machine
sweet.
the day
The
before,
last
2
one I
days
did, I
after
went
Oscar had
overboard
gone
and spent
missing.
like 20
How could he have
something
hid
hours on it.
around the house
Damn.
for 2 full days,
Damn.
and then suddenly climbed into the washing machine and had someone
Gotta
shut
say,
it
that's a
on
lot
him,
of time.
and had
I
it
hope
run
you
for a
enjoyed it,
cycle
though. I
to
mean,
drown him with nobody else knowing.
time with friends is a time well
It's been almost
spent,
10
as
years
I've
since all that
always
happened, and James and
heard.
his family haven't witnessed anything supernatural since. They've
Oh,
also never
God.
returned to Miss Fromm's former residence,
Ow.
not wanting to anger the spirits
Ow.
of the lady they are convinced.
No,
still lives.
that's okay. No,
That
you're
bitch
right.
crazy.
I should hurt there.
She drowned a cat.
I know, that's the sad ending to that story, right?
My friends
Yeah,
and I
was
played
hoping for some
D&D
sort of redemption there, but
with
no, nothing.
keep telling me
Nope.
I started with one of the
Killed the cat
hardest
and then
things
moved
for a
out.
new player,
Ah.
but I'm having
Now,
fun.
hard to find a lot of pictures on this.
I have so many questions.
For a
Really
new
quick
player,
before, here's a picture
depends
of
on the
home.
player completely. As long as you're enjoying it, sorcery
wait, what?
points
I can't
are
remember how to
enjoyable
describe it.
and
It took me a
fun.
second. I was like, wait, what's happening?
I think it's a bunch of people dressed up for Halloween, like or Halloween around 100,
I would
120
say
years
it's
Or a
really
bunch of
exciting.
carnies who are all And those-
At
isn't that
least
crazy?
you
Those
didn't
old
do an
Halloween
Arcanist. An
costumes.
Arcanist is
Well, also, I think
way
what makes it
more
super
harder.
creepy is
And a
that the
mage,
one
I would
kid in
say,
the middle
is
that's not
a lot
dressed up.
more difficult than
Right,
you
well,
think.
kind of. He has like an outfit on.
One way or another,
Well,
we
not
gonna
really.
fix it. We gonna fix it, fix
And
it
then, like,
one way or
start rolling
another.
in the back.
I know.
And that picture led me
I
to this
know.
next picture.
We're gonna fix
I
it.
got stuck in a wormhole of old timey. Oh my god.
Gosh darn
Oh
it.
my god! Look at the 3 little things in the
Oh
back.
Oh
boy.
my god, what the fuck is that?
Let me
Exactly. I
see.
think it's Halloween
Export.
again. That is
Oh,
disturbing.
I don't know.
Multiple
if that's Halloween. That
pages.
feels like some sort of like sadistic ritual shit.
Oh my god, old-timey pictures.
Are you gonna? Oh god, I feel like this is gonna inspire you to do some like old-timey devil shit.
Oh my god. Well, look at this next one. This one got Joe. This is the next one that's the creepiest of all. What?
That doesn't bother me.
Really? Like there's little faces. Kind of like it's like cloth or something.
Let's see, all pages, export range, crop mark.
Those are kids, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think they're kids.
Yeah,
they're kids dressed up for
Vanessa.
Halloween. But they just look so creepy to me. It looks like something out of a horror movie.
I guess maybe the one on
For
the back with the big
illustration.
lips. I guess.
Right.
That one doesn't bother me. That one really got Joe, huh?
And yeah, and what have you been doing with these pictures? I know not everybody can watch on YouTube. You said that the people were asking, where do you put them?
Oh, Harmony is posting them
Okay.
on the Scared to Death Instagram.
Okay.
I think that they went on Facebook as well.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that they're both places. Just with the holiday, some of our staff is out of the office, so I'll text her later and ask her.
But I remember you guys talking last in the
I don't
office
know
about
what-
how people were liking that. 'Cause
I don't know
we
what
know
to
not everyone
export.
can
I don't even know
Like,
how
you
to
might be at
export.
work, you might
Yeah.
not be able to watch at that
This is
time.
gonna be
Right, so you
this
know
is
what
gonna
to
be
expect.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know
We'll
that some people do,
figure it
like,
out
they'll watch
later.
it, and then they'll listen,
Right.
and then they'll
Watch
watch.
later.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Board.
yeah,
You're very
text the
sweet.
Scared to Death social medias.
So what were your
Thank you,
questions
Board.
had?
I am
moved
sleepy,
in after they
Lulu,
moved
so I will
out?
bid you
They don't know.
goodbye. Love meeting you, and I
wanna
will
talk to
try
these
to
people, 'cause
raid
I
you
feel like this is
again
something that probably went
sometime
on
if you
and
get a
on
chance.
and
Currently
on.
6 a.m.
Right, yeah, there's no,
Get some
like, exact
rest. It's
location, no, like, a lot of those
5:44
stories
a.m.
posted,
right
like,
now.
online
Have a good
forums. I mean, I
stream.
do
Good
kinda like
night.
that they're
Rest
serious that way.
easy.
It's
Thank
just some
you.
random username,
Before I joined the
it's
session,
not
they
like
were
an
planning the
author or
big.
anything, and it's like- kinda like
Oh
my
shit, Cat
story.
Fun.
It's just like my
Thank
stories
you,
sent out
Cat.
there to,
My character
you know,
got added
subreddit
and
or
changed
whatever,
everything.
posted
My
somewhere.
sorcerer
Right.
is
So there really is
half
no
dead
peripheral
and
details.
is
Like,
of
the story to
shadow.
tell is all the
Thank you,
details that are
Cat
in it.
Vaughn. Welcome in,
our
everyone.
next story.
Okay, actual
Lot
AFK.
more
Oh my
details.
god.
I think that I had them
Thank
stuck in
you
my
so
head 'cause
much,
I was like,
everybody.
the
You
most
guys have been
documented, like,
incredible
This
and
next one- this
amazing
next one
and
was,
sweet and
heavily- a
stupendous.
long time ago,
Right.
but heavily
And this.
heavily documented at the time.
Are you drunk?
It's just you know what I notice when I
Okay.
talk. It's
It'll
because
be okay. It'll be okay.
Have a tiny mouth.
well, maybe I have a
Really?
tiny mouth, but also I'm thinking. I'll be trying to think of like 2, 3, 4 sentences ahead as I'm saying one sentence,
Oh,
and then I mess it up.
that's totally not the way
Alright.
my brain works.
Let's get
I'm
back
always
to
trying
work.
like stay where I'm talking,
Actually,
as opposed to talking, but then
Thank you guys so
immediately
much
thinking
for
about
the
things. I've been
raid,
on stage as a
sweet
comic a lot, like, I
messages,
have
and
to fight
stuff
against
like
while
that.
I
It
tell the
is.
story, and thinking about something completely separate from the story I'm telling.
Have a good stream. Have a good
maybe I have a
night,
problem. I know I talk in
Kevon, or
circles.
day. Probably day. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Stream's okay. I mean, I know they said like nothing
Yeah.
else ever happened, but like,
Yeah.
does James think about what happened?
This is what I
today?
have so far.
I mean,
Did
I don't
James
know.
get
It's
any
looking not half
Right.
bad.
What do the neighbors have to say?
But-
The lightning
Yeah.
thing. There's no.
Yeah, that's probably just coincidence. But
Yeah.
I mean, but it just
That is crazy.
I think
Go ahead.
I think that detail just speaks to how the neighbors truly felt about this Miss Frost,
Right,
and how the other neighbors felt about her. Just speaks to how she was so
Animated
kind of
sticker.
creepy, not
Yeah.
well liked, and just so
I mean,
obsessive
dude.
about her house.
Picture.
I of course then had to think about
Go to-
my own gym teacher growing up. I don't know
Okay.
what, like your grade school.
Oh, I have a
gym
picture of
teacher?
my Mrs. Bagley,
Oh,
Marilyn Bagley.
Roof.
okay, Marilyn.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Holtzworth.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
With
Yeah, and
height.
he would wear
That's
hammer
fucking
pants.
garbage sizes.
He was like thin and very fit.
Okay, funny hammer pants.
And I just remember he would wear those like hammer pants. Also, like,
Let's do
did anybody
2000.
like him? Does anybody ever
Let's
like
do
their PE
2000.
I liked
teacher?
my PE teacher. I had Mr. Stowers. I liked him, and I liked Mrs. Bagley. I liked her, and
Let's see.
both of them were hard asses, and I liked that. about
Let's
both of
see
them.
Yeah.
how
Mrs.
much
Bagley wore,
this is.
slacks every day and like a button-up shirt.
Ugh,
and she hated
you
most
guys
of
have
the other
been
kids, and I
incredible
liked it
and
'cause I also
amazing.
hated most of the other kids.
I mean,
And so,
everybody
like,
has
other teachers
been
would be soft on them,
incredible
and
Yeah.
I'd see them just
and amazing
acting like fools in class,
and
like, doing stupid
stupendous.
shit.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mean
she would
it.
come down hard on him, and I'd be fucking yes, get him, Mrs. Bagley. Same with Mr. Stowers. He would just rip people's heads
I
off.
love it.
Wow.
And I was like,
I love
yes,
it when
yes,
it
do
just
Interesting.
freezes and hiccups.
Mr. Holtzworth.
I love
well,
it when
looking
Clip
back,
Studio just
I mean, it's a
completely
complicated
black
situation
screens my
because, like,
fucking
we would have to
tablet.
change for PE.
If I didn't have two
yes.
fucking screens,
So when
I
when
would
think
be
about
very
it,
confused
like,
right
the girls
now.
would take forever. We'd be in there just like
Yeah.
dicking around, And it's not
But
like
no,
can
you
come
guys
in
have
there
been incredible
yell
and
at us.
amazing,
So, like,
and
Right.
I
They
gotta
could,
say,
like,
I am
a lot
more
of trouble. And the way
than
that the bathroom was
surprised.
for PE, like, there was a small,
Snowy,
little short
Floofy
hallway,
Snowy,
Yeah.
and then
thank you for the
and
follow.
you opened the door to the bathroom, short, like,
Willow's
entryway,
Eve,
and then,
thank you for
you know,
for
and so
that.
it wasn't a locker
And a
room
Yame,
either.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just like 4
Yame.
stalls,
Oh.
and so it was just chaos in there,
bet.
right? You know, 15 girls with shit flying everywhere, and
Oh, okay. Ours was locker
thank you
room.
so much
yeah,
for
no, I don't know
letting
why.
me
I think
know.
it's like a good.
I do appreciate
expensive
that.
Private school.
Yeah.
I don't know
I've
why they
always
have
wanted to
locker
play
room.
D&D,
We
so when I
showered
got
after PE.
invited to join their session, I was so excited.
We rolled
Oh
up
my
our towels
gosh.
and whipped each other in the dick. And then
That's so
went back to class.
cool. No, that's really
Did you
awesome.
like it?
No.
19.
No.
I just didn't know if it was
We
something you
looked
wanted.
at each other.
Let's
I don't think I
see.
actually got hit. I remember one
Let's
kid
Let's go
getting hit.
here.
Oh, he cried for so long. Ricky
And
Herman
let's
got knocked right in the end of the dick.
Ricky Herman, but didn't no one like Ricky Herman? Wasn't he a crybaby anyways? I don't know. I don't know Ricky Herman. I'm just making this shit up. But no, but like I was thinking about this as you were telling the story. Like, oh man, like how did Holdsworth keep us in check? Because he couldn't come in there and yell at us. We would take forever. And then as we got older, we would smoke cigarettes in the bathroom.
Sounds about
I mean, older. We were like 7th grade.
Oh, jeez.
That poor guy. Oh, we were so awful.
Right, hey, the guy didn't do his job.
Probably. I think he's still around where I grew up.
Oh, okay. We should ask him.
So-
Isn't he?
Holdsworth. Sorry about the cigarettes, man. Sorry about that. My bad.
You ready for some more horror?
Come on.
I was trying to
Come
stall.
This is a longer story.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Come on.
Little setup for this one before we get to the
And
scary
come
part.
on.
So 1879, Walter Hubble, Canadian state.
I know it's probably really fun. The first time you play D&D and you figure out you really like it, it's probably a hootenanny and a half. It's probably super exciting.
A lot of people.
I have a friend from Nova Scotia.
Gotta say, I'm very excited for you.
As The Haunted House, a true
Let me
ghost story,
see.
and it sold well, over 55,000 copies when it was
Cancel.
first published.
Not an animated
Well,
GIF.
original kind of publication, you know. Story now commonly known on the web
It's
as
probably
the Amherst Mystery.
real
In
exciting.
1913,
To do
Hereward
that.
Carrington, a British-born American psychic researcher, kind of again like a ghost investigator before there was such a thing, really. He would reinvestigate the same case and publish an account of Hubble having obtained sworn witness statements in 1908 from 16 different people who stuck by their accounts of what they say they'd witnessed 29 years before.
Okay.
2000.
So if all this is to be believed, then this tale of
2000.
poltergeist activity is one of the most documented ghost sightings in Canadian
2000.
history.
All right. That sounds like fun.
I don't
The
remember
whole
what it
story
was.
centers around 18-year-old Esther Cox, who falls into a dark depression after a male friend attempts to sexually assault her and then murder her to cover it up.
Hey.
God
Okay.
damn it.
Shortly after this traumatic experience, all sorts of paranormal events start to occur around Esther. Multiple family members, neighbors, friends, over a period of several months, would go on to witness objects moving
What's
around
the
on their own,
What's the
hear strange
let's see,
noises,
what is
even
the
witness an actual apparition, and watch the spontaneous setting of fires.
image size, image
It's just random
color.
fucking fires?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that in the story.
What's-
All sorts of stuff.
That's new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All of this would take place in Amherst, Nova Scotia. Amherst, a beautiful little town on the Canadian coast of the famous Bay of Fundy, an extremely scenic bay just east of Maine in the Atlantic Ocean. In 1880, Amherst had a population of about 3,000 souls. 4 churches, a school, a music hall, a
I
large
feel
iron
I screwed
foundry,
myself.
a large shoe factory,
I
and
think
according to author Walter Hubble, more stores of various kinds than any village in its size in the province, or of its size in the province. So a small but happened little place.
Sure.
A lot of life going on there. Esther and several others lived in a 2-story home on Princess Street near one of the town's churches. Little 2-story yellow cottage with a small front yard. On the first floor, there were 4 rooms.
1933. Okay.
Parlor containing a large bay window. Dining room with an old-fashioned clock.
Cancel.
Numerous homemade
I learned
rugs,
one thing.
easy
Don't do
chairs, large
magic
dining table.
item hunting
Next to the
with the
dining room was a
rogue.
small
You
adjoining
will
kitchen
barely
with
make it
a
out
wood
alive.
stove, large
You
pine table,
figured that
small
out,
washstand,
which is
a
good.
door opening
You
into
should
the
know
side
that.
yard near the carriage stable, a second door leading to a wash shed, a third door connecting it with the dining
animation.
room, and the fourth room was a small sewing room.
So many doors.
So many doors. A lot of these old
You
houses,
should
I've
really
noticed
know
in some
that.
of
That's
these,
a
haunted house stories.
that's
A lot of
that's
door
actually a
crackings, they would
great
shut,
skill
you
to
kind of like
know.
control the draft
Open
That's what I was gonna say. It's
air
probably-
circulation.
move.
And
Let's
like,
see
people
that.
get sick, the quarantine, all those
Let's
things
see,
that we just don't have to think about.
1933.
Yeah, a lot of
Is what-
interior doors that would shut, sometimes locked, like in those type of houses.
Yeah.
One could then head up a short flight of stairs, turn left to find themselves in the second story.
Hold up. Good, he hugs you tight. How have you been? Oh, I've been good, right? Raj Ninu. Raj Ninu. Hey, Raj Ninu. How have you been? How's everything been? I'm trying to fix this. As you can clearly tell, it should not be that fuzzy. It's very fuzzy.
Families living together.
It should not be that.
Supernatural disturbances. Jane was 22. Esther was 18.
I'm gonna see on my end if I just saved it too small.
Cox also lived there.
And it's
no age given for him.
Coming out like this, and it's coming out like
Dan's brother John Teed also lived in the home.
Like I'm in some kind of waters, like I'm in the water temple or something like that.
Yeah. Common for the time.
I'm gonna see if I just fucked it up in saving it the wrong dimensions. It was supposed to be like a simple, easy magic item hunt in the town, in some shops. Ended up a heist, and I nearly died. Yeah, that's why you don't do that. That's why you don't do that. Well, you now know. You know now.
Last night, I sat for 2 hours on the front step looking at the stars. After I came in and went down into the cellar in my stocking feet and drank about a pint of buttermilk, a large rat ran between my feet. Ew. Then Jane and I went to our room, shut the door, said our prayers, and went to bed, and in a short time we both fell asleep. And I dreamt that when I got up in the morning, everything and everybody was changed except myself. This cottage, instead of being yellow, was green. You, Dan, Jane, Brother William, John Teed, Willie, and George all had heads like bears, and you all growled at me, but yet could talk. And what was very strange, you all had eyes as large as horses' eyes, only they were red as blood.
Let's see if this works.
While I was talking to you, I heard a noise in the street, and on going to the door, I saw hundreds of black bulls with blue eyes, very bright blue eyes. Coming towards the house, blood dripping from their mouths and their feet made the fire come out of the ground.
Save?
Crazy dream. They came roaring very loudly all the time, right straight for the house. They broke down the fence. I shut the front door, locked it, and ran to the back door and fastened it. They all commenced to buck the house so violently that it nearly fell over. It shook so that I woke up and found that I had fallen out of bed. And then Esther wondered if the dream was some kind of omen.
I've been okay.
Jane, her sister, told her that it was just
I've been okay. Had to deal with one of my
both had the bad dream and think she had seen a rat.
Loneliness strokes, which usually starts during autumn. I'm fine now.
Crazy dream some sort of omen. At 10 minutes to 8,
I do apologize. I didn't know you had those. Well, now I know.
A carriage pulled up.
Well, that's good that you're fine now. You know what? That's great that you're fine now. In fact, that's stupendous that you're fine now.
Mustachioed, hot, old timey. I can picture the wax in it. You know. Both Jane and Olive teased their little sister Esther about having a crush on Bob.
Oh, okay.
So Bob took Esther for a carriage ride, just the two of them. And then
let's go to
the main road in town like he'd always done in the past. Bob drove Esther away from town and out into the country on a seldom-used road.
Let's go down, all the way down to
and asked her to come out into the woods, fool around with him.
And then let's upload those.
He got angry.
Started
to demand that she come out into the woods with him. The more she refused, the angrier he became, and he started to call her all sorts of vulgar names.
Upload.
And then he pulled out a pistol.
Oh my God!
And threatened to kill her.
It's a lot bigger than the first one.
They both heard the approach of another carriage.
So maybe it's just size
the carriage, of these. Away, drove Esther back to her house, muttering about how he should have killed her, how he would have killed her if the other carriage hadn't driven up for embarrassing him.
Jesus.
Esther was shocked by the whole incident.
That's what my guess is.
She'd never seen this side of Bob before. This was way out of character. For the next few weeks, she was extremely morose and withdrawn. She wouldn't tell anyone what happened between her and Bob, and no one saw Bob after that. Dude just vanished.
Weird.
Olive and Jane didn't get any details from Esther about what happened.
Let's see if we can fix it. If we can fix it on the fly, I'm gonna be crazed. By this incident between Esther and Bob, laughs. Thanks, mate. Laughs. I don't normally talk very much when I join a stream, but I got excited seeing the D&D tag. Yeah, no, talk about D&D, dude.
In Nova Scotia.
Ayame. Totally.
Thing to happen
Give
in
it a
T's
shot.
cottage
Tell me
was
about your
initially written off
stuff.
as nothing more than just a mouse crawling into
Talking
Esther's
about
bed
the
and
D&D is
waking her up
my
in the middle of the
damn
night.
thing. I love D&D. I love all of this stuff.
She woke up screaming.
It's
First,
my
she felt something
jam.
moving across her skin. When she screamed, she woke up Jane, who slept
You
in
know
the same
that thing
bed.
in Austin
Again,
Powers?
Sure.
And then the two sisters explored the room, finding no
That's
sign
my
of this
bag,
supposed
baby.
mouse. The very next night, both Jane and Esther awoke to the sound of something moving under their bed. Esther suggested that maybe it was a mouse again. When they looked under the bed, they heard rustling from a green pasteboard box full of patchwork supplies for a future blanket.
I'm just trying to fix this. That's all I'm trying to
Jane grabbed
do.
the box, pulled it out from under the bed, placed it in the center of the room.
Copy link.
And then both she and Esther claimed they saw
go
the box
here.
jump up into the air, completely
Go
on
here.
its own, before falling over onto its side. Both women couldn't believe what they just witnessed. Esther turned the box back upright, and then they stood back and watched it as they tried to talk themselves out of what they'd just seen. But then the box jumped up again,
What?
about a foot into the air. Both Jane and
Paste.
Esther started screaming and woke up the whole house.
Right here.
Their brother-in-law Dan ran into the room and laughed when they told him what they'd seen.
And then
He examined the box, found nothing unusual inside, showed them
paste.
that there was
And
nothing unusual
then
inside, and then put the box back under their bed.
okay.
And then he complained about being woken up when he had to work the next morning and went back to bed.
And then
Jane and Esther
hold
crept
up.
into bed, held each other, eventually fearfully
Form.
falling back asleep. The next morning at
Fit the
breakfast,
screen.
when Dan
Oop.
teased them,
Nope.
both Jane and Esther insisted that they had definitely seen the box move twice. When no one
And
took them
then
seriously,
let's
they dropped the whole matter.
properties.
Nothing of note happened that day. And then that
And
night,
then let's
around
go
8:30
to
p.m., Esther complained of a
3,000.
fever and of not feeling well in general.
At
She went to her
3,000.
room, crawled into bed, and promptly fell asleep. Jane went to bed around 10 p.m.
And then let's
and then a few hours later, Esther
okay
woke Jane
that.
up. She woke up screaming herself awake, screamed that she was dying.
What?
Jane lit a lamp and was frightened by the change in her sister's appearance.
Oh,
Esther's short hair was standing on its end, and her skin was suddenly, quote, as red as blood.
that's
Her eyes were wide
a
with fright and looked as
whole
if they'd
hell of a
fall out
lot
her head
better.
as she stood in the center of the room in her white nightgown. Dan and Olive ran into the room and were also startled by Esther's physical appearance. Esther then started to feel weak and sat down in the bed. Not long after
Let's
sitting,
go
Esther leapt up screaming that she felt she was about to burst into pieces.
What?
Then in a low, choking
It's a whole
voice, Esther
hell of a
exclaimed,
lot better.
"I'm swelling up and certainly shall burst. I know I
Let's
shall."
go.
Dan
Let's
looked
go
at his
to
sister-in-law's face and
2,000.
remarked in a startled tone, "Why, the girl is swelling. Olive, just look at her. Look at her hands, too. See how swollen they are.
Well,
Oh my God.
And she is as hot as fire." Esther was burning up with a fever. And then only a few minutes after her face was
I'm
as
getting
red as
wider
blood,
and
she
wider.
now suddenly was as pale
I
as
think
death.
I'm
Her
doing
skin
it
had gone
wrong.
from feverish to feeling ice cold.
Let's
While the family stood looking at her,
try
not knowing
that.
what to
Ooh,
do, her entire body swelled up
close.
to an enormous size,
Close.
and she started screaming in pain, grinding her teeth, and then there was a boom, a sound similar to the crack of thunder, heard by all present. "My God!" exclaimed Olive, as everyone jumped to their feet. "The house has been struck by lightning, and I know my poor boys are killed."
What?
Olive then ran from the room to check on her children, found them both sleeping
Oh
soundly.
yeah, that's
She returned to Esther
way
and Jane's room,
better.
where everyone else
I
stood
thought I
still
did it
looking at
wrong.
Esther, wondering what had produced the terrible sound. It was not a stormy night. The stars could be seen shining brightly outside the window. Everyone agreed that whatever they heard, it wasn't thunder. Just as they came to that agreement, 3 more loud reports were heard. The sounds seemed to emanate directly from under Esther's bed. They were so loud that the whole
Still-
room seemed to shake. And Esther, who a moment before had been swollen up to an unnatural size, now almost instantaneously assumed her normal appearance. And then she fell into a deep sleep. As soon as everyone else agreed that she was just asleep and not actually dead, they all left the room except for Jane, who went back to bed beside her sister, laying awake for the rest of the night.
They all went back to bed? What the fuck? Ay, ay, ay.
Esther slept into the next morning until about 9 o'clock, then got up and had breakfast, said she felt fine, like the events of the previous evening had never happened. Everyone, of course, talked about what they'd seen,
Yeah.
but when no one could determine what any of it could mean, they all agreed not to talk about it outside their
What do
home.
you guys think?
And
Oh,
essentially, the entire
is it not
matter was
moving?
dropped.
It's
Then
that's
4 nights
weird.
later, Esther was again afflicted by
Oh,
a
no.
strange bout of swelling, accompanied by more supernatural phenomena.
Oh, that's
It all
right.
began around 10
That's
o'clock at
why.
night, just as she was getting
I know
into
what
bed.
I did wrong.
She had just managed to get into bed before her body began to swell. Jane advised
I
her
know
to
what
remain
I did
perfectly still,
wrong.
hoping this
Hold
strange
up.
attack would pass.
Copy link. I know what I did wrong. I know what I fucking did wrong. Guys, we're doing it.
Oh my god.
We're doing it on the fly.
Esther and Jane both screamed. Then Jane fainted.
Speaking.
The rest of the family soon rushed into the room, frightened, not knowing what to do. Olive grabbed the blanket, laid it back on top of her sister's. The moment she let go of it, it flew off again.
What the fuck?
Landing back in the same corner of the room.
Where is it?
Later,
God damn it.
Flew out
This
from under Esther's head, struck John Teed in the face,
What?
who, terrified, immediately fled the room.
I don't know why that's funny.
I know it's funny to the pillow to the face.
paste.
At this point,
Okay.
Jane regained consciousness.
How about that?
William Cox
Who?
went down into the kitchen for a bucket of water to bathe Esther's head,
shoot.
which was aching terribly. Just as he
Oh
made it out
yeah.
the door, a succession
Look at
of loud
that.
reports was heard
Way
coming from Esther and
better.
Jane's bed from under it.
Right, it's
Just
all
refurbish the
bed.
dice command on the
Sounds were so
Nightbot, so
loud, the whole
absolutely
room
feel
shook.
free to bring in
Esther, who had
some.
a moment before been swollen up, now
Yeah,
quickly
jumpy
assumed her
box. Go
natural
your radio.
appearance.
It's jumpy box.
And within a few minutes,
Nice.
she fell
Up.
back asleep.
Closer.
The same sequence of events
Yes.
as before.
Because about the
Everyone in
dice
the house was
rolls
shaken
a
up.
word
No
for
one
me.
knew what
I'm
to do.
shadow
Everyone
touched.
soon went back to
Sorceress who is
Everyone
half
should
dead.
stay
She walks
together, for
the
fuck's
line
sake.
between being alive and being
confused.
dead.
In the
Ooh.
morning, both
I don't
Esther and
have
Jane woke up feeling
high
weak,
hit points, so
especially Esther.
a good
Over
hit
breakfast,
does
Dan
bring me
Teed
down.
decided to pay the town doctor
Your
a visit.
baby sounds
That
like
afternoon,
glass
Dan left the
cannon
factory
syndrome.
room,
Your
went to
avatar
see
needs
Dr.
push-ups.
Who laughed when Dan told him what had
Shut
happened.
up.
Dan asked Dr.
Stop
Crick to
talking
come
about
over
my
that
skinny.
night around 10
Stop
p.m. and
it.
the doctor agreed. He
Stop.
also told Dan he didn't expect to see anything.
A lot of these radio
And someone was
stories were
probably
written
having fun with Dan and his
feverishly
family.
and constantly tossing things.
As the hands
It just says
of
out the
Teed caught the
window.
clock, 20 to 10,
Noise.
in walked Dr.
Fix
Crick.
one thing, break another.
After
Just how
greeting
it goes,
everyone, he
right?
took a seat
How'd
with
you
Esther,
figure it
who'd been
out?
in bed since 9.
Just keep
At that
jamming
moment, she felt
square
completely
into
normal.
circle until corners
The
give it
doctor
up.
felt her pulse,
I
looked at
figured
her
it out
tongue,
because
and then told
the
his family that
size
she seemed to be suffering
resolution
from
was
nothing
way
more
too
than
fucking
nervous
small.
excitement.
It was way too
A
small.
diagnosis they would give for so
This
many
is what
things.
happens
Okay.
normally with
Then, just as
images
Dr.
like
Crick
this,
began
is
to
that
tease the whole group for letting a few
you
strange
probably
sounds,
saved it
some
wrong.
supposed moving blankets.
You
throw them into
probably
hysterical
saved it
state.
wrong.
A pillow popped out from under
You
Esther's
made
head
a big
again.
mistake.
Shut across
You
the room,
be-
landing in the
you
same
made a
corner
big
as the blanket had
goof.
the night before.
Oh,
As soon as
I'll
it hit the
put
floor,
myself.
another pillow
What
started to
do
move,
you
and John
guys think
Teed
I should
grabbed
be?
it.
Should I be
He
over
held on
here?
with both hands as everyone watched, as the pillow continued
should I
to
be
float
over
towards
here?
the corner, being pulled by some invisible power.
I can be
stronger
over
than
here.
himself. How
I can
wonderful!
be right
Exclaimed Dr.
there.
Crick, excited
Yeah.
to see some unexplainable phenomena.
Get the fuck
Oh, yeah.
out of here, you psycho.
Just as the doctor arose from the
Yeah.
chair, the reports under the bed commenced. As they had the
Sometimes
previous
it's
night.
your own
The
fucking
doctor
fuck
looked beneath
up,
the bed to
and you
investigate,
can't
but was
blame the
unable to
fucking
determine the
thing
cause
at
of the
all.
sounds. Then, when the doctor walked to the door,
Where
the
this
sounds
time,
followed him across the
I just
floor.
assumed it
Boom,
would give me the
boom,
biggest
boom,
height,
boom.
and it
And the sound of
no,
some person
it
writing on
didn't.
the wall
Made me
with a sharp
small,
instrument
made
was
me
heard.
puny.
The doctor
And
and
now
everyone
you
else
can
scanned
see
the
my
room for
little
the
ear
source of the
flicks.
sound, and then near the
You see
head
that
of the
little
bed,
ear flick?
in large
That's just
characters,
that's for
words
the
suddenly appeared
ladies.
on the wall.
And
Esther
also the
Cox,
dudes.
you are mine to
And
kill.
everything in
the
between. I
fuck?
mean,
As Dr.
you know.
Critt stood in the doorway studying the writing,
and
a
the
large piece of
aliens.
plaster came
The
flying from
aliens
wall of
that
the room.
gender
It turned
does
the
not
corner in midair,
really
fell
matter
at
to
his
them.
feet. He picked it up
You know
mechanically,
those things.
placed it on a chair. He was now too astonished to even speak.
Cryptoids.
The moment he set the
Love
plaster on
them.
the chair, the poundings commenced again and redoubled power, this time shaking the
It's
entire room.
what's wrong with me.
Boom, boom.
Did my mom
Esther
save me
continued
wrong?
to lay on her bed,
I also
paralyzed
rolled a
by fear.
D100 for
When the
my
noises
character's
finally stopped,
origin and rolled a
Dr. gave
99,
Esther
so
some
she's a
medicine called
princess
nerve,
as
then
well.
shakily got up himself,
Your ma, you
left
gotta
saying he would return the
reformat
following
me.
morning to
Get
check
the
on her,
chair.
and then hastily
The
exited.
PNG
morning,
turned out
the
great.
doctor did return to
D100.
And was surprised
Oh,
to see Esther up and
shit.
dressed, helping Olive wash the dishes.
83. My character
she felt
has
fine again.
like super bad
She
hit
was,
points and
you know, a
almost
little
no strength,
nervous,
but
and,
has
sudden
good
noises would now
charisma. So
make her
I mean, she's balanced somehow.
Right.
Hey, that's a lot
While the
better than
doctor
the
talked to
backstory
other
I had
residents of the
before.
cottage, Esther went down into the cellar to grab
Your
some milk.
backstory is
Quickly
quite
came
an
running
interesting
back up
one
into
as
the
well.
cottage,
And thank
out of
you,
breath,
Inner
saying
Joke.
that she was
I do
down there,
appreciate it.
and that while she was
Fucking-
down there, something or someone had thrown something
This
at her.
is.
The doctor ran down to see for himself while Esther
It's
remained in
finally
the dining room.
happening.
A moment later, he came back into the
I'm-
house saying he had found no one in the cellar.
I'm a real
Nothing
boy.
had been thrown at him.
Guys,
He asked
I'm a
Esther to
real
come
boy.
back down into the cellar with him.
Oh my god, get the fuck out of here.
And when they both
Guys,
walked
I'm a
into the cellar,
real
several
boy.
potatoes flew through the air towards their heads. And
Oh
they
my
ran back
gosh.
up.
No No way. Get the fuck out of this house. What are we waiting
now
for?
that I've fixed it,
well, pale as a ghost.
you're not going to enjoy what's about to happen.
Going on at the Teed House.
You guys are incredible and amazing. I know you don't want to leave. I know very much you don't want to leave.
That night, again around 10 p.m., the doctor and residents of the Teed Cottage heard more loud
I know you don't want to leave, but it's 6 a.m. I finally fucking got it.
And the source of the sound
I finally fucking got it.
To the roof. The doctor and the rest of the Teed Cottage residents went out onto the lawn.
I'm a real skeptic. He doesn't believe anything.
So you could hear it from outside.
The doctor would later
I'm a real thing.
With a heavy
with an ear flick.
Pounding away, trying to break through the shingles. But there was no one in the area.
Totally dead. Dang right, it's totally dead. Heckin' dead. Dead? Oh shit.
On the night he had tried to sexually assault and threaten to kill her. This was the first anybody else knew of this affair. When Esther fell out of her trance, those present told her what she had just started to say, or what she had just said.